Okay, we're live. Hooray! Okay, so welcome back to what is this? Drowned Rats, Burning Wheel.
D&D 7th edition.
God, can you imagine?
We removed all the bad things about D&D. The elves, the dwarves, all gone. It's only tieflings.
You get one dice. You have one stat. D&D.
How good are you at rolling your D&D stat? Oh, you want to attack someone? Roll your D&D. You want to dodge? Roll your D&D. Want to do anything? Roll your fucking D&D.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so anyway, hello, welcome. I was just saying before we went live that once we read beliefs, I want to go over a little bit of stuff like thematic, out of game meta stuff for moving towards you guys becoming incarnates, which might take hopefully less than an hour, but up to an hour, and then we'll get into the session proper. So actually, with that said, it might be easier to just go straight into that rather than reading beliefs first. Though, I guess, quick question, has anyone actually changed their beliefs? Because I know last week we had a kind of weird, shorter session.
No, unfortunately none of mine applied last session, so...
Nope.
Yeah.
Although I should, actually, because I just realized I did believe in it.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you work on that while we are in the background,
okay.
have a think about what you want to do for that. So, okay, yeah, so the thing I wanted to talk about, the thing that I've been working on kind of all week, this week.
DLC.
Yeah, kind of. Is properly working out how I want to present the incarnates and related beings of great power. And let's see. So I'll share this article with you guys in Discord, in general, and I guess I'll put it in the stream chat as well, why not? So people at home can follow along. So this is basically my rules hack for the faith system in the default Burning Wheel rules, and basically what I want to do is just kind of go through this page with you guys and kind of explain some things, which will hopefully address some of the concerns that I was having last week, and hopefully inspire you guys to come up with ideas for your characters and the direction that you want to take your characters in, as we gain some superpowers. So the first thing I should say is, because we're not starting as these powerful beings, I should turn my music off, sorry, I just realized that's still on. So as we're not starting the game as powerful beings, having taken a life path that just makes you start as an incarnate, or just gives you the great soul trait straight off the bat, I kind of want to introduce the concepts a bit slower, a bit like over time, and kind of drip feed them out rather than just like dumping them all on you at once. As soon as you become an incarnate, it's just
You've
like
leveled up. You gained this many stat points, and
Yeah.
all of these things that you now have to read.
You gained holy power to smite.
So but that's a realization that I should have come on to sooner, but didn't initially realize that that's what the game's gonna be about, right? Is how you guys become incarnates. And I didn't realize that when I first pitched the game to you guys. Or I didn't maybe make it as explicit as I should have. That it's a process. It's not just something that'll happen overnight. And so I just wanted to check you guys are okay with that. Because when we started the campaign, I was originally thinking and saying, "Oh, just give me a couple weeks to work out the mechanics, and then we'll incarnate you guys." And then it's been like 4 months, so this has been more complicated than I first imagined it would be. So that's the first thing to say. Interrupt me now or forever hold your peace in that regard. If you're all okay with that.
Sounds Gucci.
Cool.
Biscotti.
Sounds funky, Frank.
So basically, becoming an incarnate, or more generally speaking, becoming what I'm referring to as kindred, which is an incarnate, a scion, a forlorn, or a host, and we'll get to those terms later. But basically, anything that gives you the great soul trait and keeps you relatively mortal, keeps your sapience and your mortality. It doesn't instantly turn you into a god, for example, but it is the path to godhood or some other form of divinity. So it works a lot like faith. But that probably doesn't mean much to most of you guys, except Jen, because you haven't played the base Burning Wheel game. So faith is a magical ability. It works kind of like the conjuration skill that Xerion has been making good use of in the last 10 sessions, except that it's what's called an emotional attribute, which is kind of kept separate from your skills and has lots of extra stuff associated with it, and in particular it's not affected by wounds, but also only successful tests advance it, so it tends to advance a lot slower than other things. However, it comes with catches. The first immediate catch is reaching breath 10 will basically retire your character, one way or another. Make them effectively unplayable, even if the character themselves still exists in the world. And in the case of the Great Soul trait, I've added, most people will also get a second drawback, which is something that I'm still working out the details of for each of the different incarnate types or kindred types. But it's kind of like a second emotional attribute that you also have to watch out for advancing too high, and it might ruin your character. And the sort of conceptual origin for these drawbacks, particularly the ones for the incarnates, kind of stem from mythology and tropes in mythology, like what's his name? In the Iliad, Achilles sulking in his tent for half of the Battle of Troy because Hector killed his best friend and maybe lover, and so he just stops participating in the war for a while because he's sad. So that's roughly where the concept of these drawback traits come from, but they're different and unique for each kindred type. For example, the scions are probably the easiest one to explain, without going into too much detail because they're the simplest, they basically just get an extra belief, a fourth special belief, which is like hubris, dragon's hubris, I think I'm calling it. And it's basically like one of the 7 deadly sins, or using one of the 7 deadly sins, so like greed or wrath or whatever, using that as a theme to then write a belief about like your grand motivation, or like just like goals for the world, or just like believing that you're above everyone else or whatever. Anyway, so that one's like quite easy because that's just an extra belief, whereas some of the others get more complicated. So this the way the magic system works is in 2 parts. First of all, well, the way it's written here, arguably aspects should come before names, but basically,
You all have to die to get them.
Pardon?
You all have to die to become a great soul.
No, only one of the kindred types dies to become a
Wait, that's legit? What?
Yeah. We'll get to that.
Oh my.
Actually, no. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that right now. So
He's stabbing Odelle. Level up, bitch.
Fuck you. What is this, Homestuck?
So basically, the way you get these powers, we'll get onto what the powers can do, and maybe that's less important until you actually get them. But so there's these 4 kindred types, and the kindred type that you get depends on how you came to gain the Great Soul trait, and within each kindred type there are different. They're basically life paths, or they're represented with life paths, but they're basically different castes or classes. And then there's further choice within each of those classes to get different what are called aspects. So there's a lot of customizability, I think, but it's constrained customizability. So every kindred has something within them called an aegis or a tulpa, and one of the powers available to them with their breath is to synergize with this aegis. And so this is an optional thing that anybody can take that is to do with using powers that directly draw on the tulpa within you in interesting ways. And so there's this aspect, which is basically a set of powers. An aspect is a set of powers that you can use with breath that are kind of all revolve around a similar theme. So the theme for Aegis Synergy is to do with your inner spirit, or this guardian spirit that will manifest in your halo. And we kind of saw examples of this when the setting used to be Exalted, but it wasn't properly ironed out back then. So I'll just read this. So which kind of Aegis you get and how it appears and so on depends on how you became a kindred in the first place. So for the incarnates, this is the Aegis is a divine shard that is lodged in their soul and which resonates with one of the great Astras. The great Astras are 4 incredibly powerful objects that basically keep the universe functioning as we know it, i.e. the sun, the moon, the wheel, and the spear. And this resonance occurs when a mortal, or it has let's say that the resonance has a chance to occur when a mortal earnestly accomplishes a great deed. And the wording there is very specific because the way I want to implement incarnation in game is with deeds. So only by earning a deeds point will you even have a chance of becoming an incarnate. You have to kind of earn it to get the attention of the gods. For the Scions, it's draconic heritage that passes through their blood, and there is a chance that the Tulpa can kind of emerge in their inner soul as kind of the dragon form that they will one day become if they manage to advance their breath all the way up to 10. Yeah, so this is like, so the dragons, the true dragons, the Nagas, are the divine protectors of the world, and they're all aspects, or I should say avatars of Loka, who is the world, and sort of the whole reason that Scions exist in the first place was kind of for Loka to make an army to protect herself with, to protect her from demons, to protect her from chaos, and all sorts of other things. So the Scions have this like grand heritage to them, and they're very stereotypically they're like a bunch of nobles, but the blood can emanate really anywhere in the world, depending on how, you can trace it, but like it's partially random, so it's kind of like so the Scions you can kind of think of in that sense as like the genetic lottery, whereas the incarnates is like something that you have to earn. Then the hosts are people that have demons within them. And demons are defeated ex-gods from a forgotten war that refused to die and were eternally imprisoned instead. And they yearn for freedom. They yearn to be free from the jars of hell. And the only way they can do that is via a willing sapient body, which they share with and will one day break free of as well, to roam the earth as demons, as true demons, and to cause havoc and exact revenge. So hosts have the potential to do good in their lifetime, but are ultimately going to cause havoc one day, unless they're stopped. So being a host isn't quite the same as being possessed by a demon. I should make a distinction there. There's some similarities, but they can't be exorcised, for example. It's more, well, it's similar to what the Forlorn do, and the Forlorn is where you have a lich instead of a demon, and a lich is an ancient, probably mad, monstrous ghost that has the power to bring someone back from the dead by merging its soul with them. And so the hosts and the Forlorn are similar but different. The differences mostly come from what kind of aspects and powers they have access to. And technically the Forlorn are maybe undead, or not quite, I've put unlife there. They're unliving. They're not quite zombies, they're not quite ghosts, but they're not quite alive either. So this Aegis synergy is an example of a power that you can take. You don't have to. If you don't care about this aspect of the character, then you can pretty much ignore it for your entire character's lifespan. But what it lets you do is build a relationship with your Tulpa, which is, it's kind of this extension of yourself. So there's maybe some question as to whether it's technically a separate being or whether it's part of you. But it can act if you take this ability, this set of channelings, this set of powers. Then you're basically saying, I want this to be important to my character. I want to have this Tulpa thing, this Aegis, to be involved in my character progression and my character development. And so then the list here is like some examples of what you can do with the aid of that Tulpa, with the aid of that specialization. So examples include, you can use breath to get the Tulpa, get the inner spirit to absorb damage for a brief time and basically remove wounds temporarily, but they come back at the end of the scene. You can ask your Aegis for guidance, be it literally or metaphysically. You can...
You could basically be that anime cleric that you always hear about, but never actually gets played about in games.
Yeah, maybe. The spirit can protect you. The spirit can... This is... I'm just going down the list now. The spirit can protect you, basically giving you armor. It can help you snap out of an illusion or a mind control effect. You can astrally project with it and basically go and scry on people anywhere in the world almost instantaneously. And it can literally tank a hit for you, and like potentially die if you fuck it up badly. But it can render you completely indestructible for a single hit. Yeah, if this is kind of a fun one. If you fail this test, then it still tanks the hit, but it damages your breath like a wound, which breath is not normally affected by wounds, so that's quite a big deal. And if it's enough to reduce your breath to 0, then it just, your great soul dies. But the fun thing is you also get this trait if you take this set of powers called Syntagma, or Vahana, or Akostra, and it means that you can kind of summon... It means that a physical form of your Tulpa, a physical... like a physical version of this thought form, it will manifest in your halo when you use your breath. And so it kind of can act as a spirit familiar, in that it can appear like an animal and you can kind of even see through its eyes or ride it. Or it can be way more abstract and bizarre looking, or any number of other things. Like this is very much... So like in previous versions of Exalted, we always had this idea of the anima being a very like customizable thing, and it's not something that everyone engaged with. So I wrote this out as like a thing that you opt into instead of it being something that everyone necessarily gets. But yeah, so that's an example of what breath can be used to do, and my goal is to write a whole bunch of these. Aegis Synergy is one that everyone gets access to, but depending on the cast that you pick, you'll get all sorts of different options available, and you get to pick as many of them as you have breath exponent. So if your breath is 3, which is what most people's breath starts at character creation, then you'll get 3 of these aspects to choose from, or you'll choose 3 from a list of about 20. But 20 sounds like a lot, but 11 of them are always the same. One of them is the Aegis Synergy that I just went through, and 10 of them are these soul disciplines, which are really, really like simple, but I think subtly powerful traits that will just open-end a whole bunch of abilities for you. So, for example, the discipline of alacrity will permanently open end your speed stat and all speed rooted skills, which is like quite not that well. Yeah, it's not that many skills, but I think it's only stealthy, climbing, and dancing. But speed gets used all the time in combat. So if you're a very like combat focused character, if you want to be really good at combat, taking the discipline of alacrity is a really, really easy way to just like instantly get really good at combat. Or have the potential to be really good at combat, I should say.
Donati just got super good at combat.
Yeah, so I mean, like, some of these I have written with Donati in mind, trying to make sure that Donati, as one of our only examples of a high-level scion, doesn't have things that are completely anachronistic. So, for example, the discipline of toughness is what increases your mortal wound by 2, which is what Donati has.
Yes.
And
boy, did it save her life several
yes.
times. He agrees. Hey, no bites.
So, and I think 2 is a good number. I think when we first wrote the game, or in original Exalted, you could increase it like up to 5. But I think just having it be this thing that you opt into, it takes up one of your aspect slots. It gives you a +2 to mortal wound.
The tough trait does exist.
Yeah.
Right. But we were trying to bring over Oxbody trait.
Yeah, that's what it was, Oxbody. Yeah.
Which was something different from Exalted.
Yeah. So I also have the discipline of endurance here. Open ends fort, but because only one skill is rooted in fort, I also made it do the thing that the tough trait does, which rounds up on mortal wound. But still, having the discipline of endurance is really good because one of the failure consequences of breath, in addition to any other failure consequences that you might get that are pertinent to the intent, you will probably always end up taxing your fort. Which means there is a certain limit to how frequently you can use these powers. And they're very strong powers because unlike Conjuration, there's no wind-up. There's no, like, if it's an Ob 4 spell, you don't have to spend 4 hours preparing it and then spend 4 actions releasing it. No, it's you don't even have to script, you just do it. So it's definitely the most powerful magic system in the game, and arguably Conjuration is like derivative of it. Really what you're doing when you're conjuring a spirit is the hard part is conjuring the spirit, and then the spirit just like automatically uses one of these breath powers for you. So if you already have Conjuration, i.e. Jen and Xerion, then you can think about what spells you already have access to, and whether sorry about the plane in the background if you can hear that. What spells you already have access to, and whether you want to treat your Conjuration skill and the spells that has available to you as like filling in the blanks of what your breath powers can't do. So rather than double dipping, because if you double dip on breath and Conjuration, then even though there's crossover, they're not actually going to be able to help each other very much, because the act of conjuring a spirit is very different from the act conjuring a spirit to do like what's a spell? Someone give me a spell.
Fire fan.
Fire fan. Yeah, okay. So conjuring a spirit to do fire fan is a very different physical act from being a fire aspect scion and just producing the fire fan effect at the drop of a hat.
Sorry.
So yeah, you guys can think about like where you might want to kind of branch out and try and cover more bases.
Perception.
Perception, yes. Just keep dumping it all into perception.
A good magician will do just that.
Just like...
The more I can see, the more I can cast. You store my demons in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, like, you probably could double dip and it would still be somewhat beneficial, but yeah, I mean, obviously you can play your character suboptimally if you want to, or go with what feels the most thematically appropriate. But just as a heads up, like, I think Jen asked a couple weeks ago, like, oh, would we be able to use our conjuration affiliations to add to breath tests? And I wasn't really sure about an answer back then, but I've decided now that no, they're fundamentally different things, despite one being derived from the other. So yeah, the last thing to mention about how these powers work is that they're all technically so that the aspects are sets of channelings which are disguised divine interventions from the original faith mechanics, and the aspects are working in a similar fashion to how I previously had lists of domains. But domains were, as they were previously listed, domains were just words. It was just like a word like fire or law or
Magic whistle.
no, not magic whistle. Like general things like agriculture.
Yeah.
Right? It was to do with the things that the gods are related to. And it makes sense for the gods to have domains, but I've come to realize that it doesn't really make sense for the kindred to have domains in the same regard. A, because it makes it easier for me to write it, but B, because like they're so kind of broad and general, and the powers that you have access to are very soft in terms of like there's limitations, but like it's a lot of GM discretion rather than like specific rules telling you every little thing that you can do.
Yeah, it's a softer magic system.
Yeah. So what I've done instead is I've moved away from the idea of domains in the original faith system and more towards these things that I'm calling aspects, which is really just a name change. But by changing the name, I feel like it frees me to do something a little bit different with them, which is to basically explain what the aspect means. Like, call it an aspect. It's technically a domain, but explain what it means, and then just write example channelings, example powers, and give them obs, and have all of those examples be iterations on a theme. So if the theme is dreams or sleep, then I can write a bunch of different examples that are like magic powers that are to do with dreams and sleep. And I can give them obs based on this thing here, the primordial mantra. So this is my loosey-goosey rule set for setting obstacles with breath. And if you have an aspect like sleep and dreams, then you'll sort of opt into that. You'll say, I want to take this as an aspect, and then there'll be examples in that. I unfortunately don't really have one to show right now because the formatting on World Anvil is tripe. But
how can you say this? You basically sponsor them.
No, they should sponsor me.
I mean, either or.
Anyway, in which case, if they are going to sponsor me, no, it's not tripe. It's great.
Try World Anvil now.
Anyway, yeah. So
the leader in the growing market of character sheets.
Yeah. So the.
1 second.
Okay.
Okay, now you can
So the really, really basic things that you can do with channelings, with breath, is like the first 4 things on this list here under the primordial mantra. So this is a boon, which just open-ends an ability, a curse, which adds a +1 ob penalty, a blessing, which will grant +1 dice to an item, which you then can use and you'll get +1 dice, or for ob 4 it will open-end the skill that's associated with that tool or item. Aid, which gives you more bonus dice. This is very mechanical and dry. The fun stuff is superpowers and miracles. Superpowers used to be called minor miracle, but I think it's more freeing to call it just superpowers. And yeah, this is a catch-all for most other game-breaking, rules-bending, and fiction-altering effects that you might be able to produce within the limits of the aspect. And then the rest of that paragraph is pretty much just an explanation of how I roughly pick the obstacles. And then the miracle is the really, really big stuff. This is obstacles 10 and above, basically, that have the potential to affect the entire world. So yeah. Oh yeah, I guess I should also mention halos. I think I have talked about these before, but basically when you use your powers, your halo will manifest, also known as an anima or a aureola or a velificantes. I can't say that word. It's Italian. It means like flowing silk or something. Anyway, so it's basically this like, you know, flashy description when you're using your powers, but it's not all powers. So I've embedded when a power will cause your anima to flare or not, using these 2 words, subtle and obvious. So if a power, and so all, so every aspect will have this signifier of subtle or obvious in its name. So for example, the Aegis synergy is obvious, which means anytime you use one of these channelings, your anima will flare, your halo will alight. And that kind of has its own extra consequences as well, potentially. For example, all mortal witnesses of a halo will eventually have to make a steel test after a number of exchanges equal to their will exponent, in a fight, for example. But in a more, that's like kind of technical, but in a more general sense, using these powers that are obvious will literally tell everyone in the near vicinity that you're a fucking magic dude and you're gonna fuck shit up, right? Like, and so they might get scared, they might go call the local authorities, they might pray to their gods, like who knows what. But
yeah, guards, he's manifesting his godly power again at noon. It's another complaint about.
Yeah,
Stop, you violated the law.
yeah.
Oh, you know a few spells, do you? Do you think I'm impressed?
You're not allowed to use your shouts in the middle of town because it makes you nervous. I won't do it again, guard, I swear. Shout some away later.
Been to the Cloud District recently? No, I thought you would.
So anyway, that's like an extra failure consequence. So if you're using obvious powers all the time, then I can like add on extra failure consequences. So there's limits to this. It's a very open-ended system, but it's not like completely. It's not like you can do whatever you want with it, right? You have to choose your aspects, and you have to make decisions. You have to use powers within the theme of that aspect. And so if you don't have the right aspect to do the things that you want to do, you either have to wait until your essence advances so that you can learn a new aspect, or you just, lame it out like us mortals do and do something mundane instead of something magical. So yeah, that's a summary of the breath mechanics. I'm working on the life paths. I'm working on the aspects and the example powers. But I should mention, if I haven't already, that the examples are just examples, and so if you do take the dreams and sleep aspect, and you're looking at the example list, and you're like, I wish there was something on here that it did that isn't on here, then you can just say at the table, hey, can I use this aspect to do X, Y, Z? And I'll be like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let me figure out an ob for that. Or I'll say, that isn't quite in the realm of what that aspect can do. I don't think I'm going to allow that. Or if it's like pushing it, I might allow it, but increase the obstacle or something like that. Anyway, so yeah, thanks for your patience with this. Like, this has been bothering me for a while. Like, I feel like I've let you guys down a bit in terms of not delivering on promises that I made at the start of the campaign, but hopefully this explanation gets you as excited as I am for some of these things. That was my TED Talk. Please give me any questions.
Okay, so Will, I want you to answer a simple question.
Mm-hmm.
Does the demon living inside of me let me float?
Potentially, there's quite a number of different ways you can use these powers to fly.
Does it per se tax me if I want to heighten myself just so I'm an inch taller than Edvard at every single moment in time?
You do realize that once he becomes an incarnate, he can literally do the exact same thing to you.
Look, depends, and also I'm magic. I'll boost it with another spell. Become some ridiculous fucking godly one-upping content.
Will I be able to lash myself into the sky and float that way?
If you, okay, so some examples of the.
Will I be able to use Stormlight to stick people?
Yeah, so that one of the 4 incarnate types, which I'm currently calling Judges of the Spear, but that might change. I need to come up with good names for them, and I'm not sure about some of them. Anyway, they have the ability to manipulate gravity, which means they can basically fall in a direction of choice, which amounts roughly to flight, though it's a bit more finicky than just flapping your wings. And yeah, they can launch people into the sky and just make them die of falling damage.
Oh my god, I'll be a real win winner.
Yeah.
Odelle to her spirit. Trust me.
And I suppose in a way it can also function like somewhat limited telekinesis as well. You can like move objects around or make them appear to be weightless and stuff like that. But it's limited by the fact that it's technically gravity manipulation, so you can't just like move stuff around at will. I haven't quite worked out the mechanics of many of these things yet, but I have the concepts down at least. So yeah, the 3 other classes, like their big deal, their shtick. Though again, all of this is optional. So like you could be a judge and never take the gravity shifting powers, but you're maybe missing out if you don't.
I would love gravity shifting.
So there's the big deal for the judges is gravity shifting powers. The big deal for the incarnates of the moon is shape-shifting and size and reality bending. They are true shapeshifters. They are true magicians, and they can produce some crazy effects. For the incarnates of the sun, it's to do with light and color and illusions and a few other things that I'm not fully have worked out yet. And for the incarnates of the wheel, it's it's to do with dreams and sleep and emotions and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a few different ways you could fly. You could fly by being a judge and manipulating gravity and just falling into the air, or you could fly by being an incarnate of the moon and shapeshifting into a bird, or growing wings out of your back, or anything else like that. And potentially the air aspected dragon scions can fly as well, just by like lifting the air around them.
Can we grow?
Yeah. Okay. So there's another thing that you can do, which is there's an optional trait that most incarnates will get, which is called Tainted Legacy, which is basically my way of letting you guys take things like horns or wings, or basically it gives you a monstrous trait, but it makes you conspicuous. Or more accurately, it makes you harder to be inconspicuous.
All the furries. Oh no, a monstrous trait. Oh no, I have a tail. Oh no.
Yeah, so that's how you get horns or wings or whatever you want. So yeah, I know that that's a lot of vagaries, but hopefully I can keep my promise about like giving you guys the customizability that I mentioned in session 0. Any other questions? Oh, actually,
We'll be able to be real soon.
Yeah, actually, I guess a good question to ask would be to ask you guys. Open question is: of those 4 kindred types, the incarnates, scions, hosts, and forlorn, which ones like sound the coolest to you guys? Which ones do you guys feel like you're leaning towards?
But I'm pretty sure I had something specific in mind for Odelle. I just don't remember it anymore. If I threw it out with everything else that I had, or I probably threw it out. I'm not gonna lie.
I remember you got excited at one point about the Lucents, like being able to produce light and do light weaving and stuff. And your original character concept for the Yona character was a judge, wasn't she?
Yes. That one I did know. Mostly because I wanted her to be like, okay, don't sue me, but absolutely open runner.
Right, yeah.
None of you know what that is, but that's fine, because me and Will know. That's the important part. There's some cool.
Yeah, I can't deny that there's some inspiration taken from Stormlight, but I'm hoping that it's also like got enough different going on with it.
Well, no, yeah. It's just, it's legitimately a new magic system. You give me one other story that uses a type of magic system like Stormlight.
Yeah.
You gotta play around with it. I personally can't wait for the first Stormlight RPG. Someone's gonna make a tabletop game out of it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't know how that would work.
No clue. They should have. I'm gonna tweet Brandon Sanderson. Hey, my friend Seraaron.
I mean,
Would love to come up with a system
I
to
probably
play.
could design
Like,
it.
please
I'm not
contact him
going
at this
to because
email.
I've got too many other things to do. But if I ever had a ton of free time, I could just.
Okay, but maybe
make-
you might get paid for this one.
Yeah.
At Gary Gygax.
Get the
more
fuck out! Isn't he
accurately-
dead?
Yeah, he's dead.
At Gary Gygax's ghost at twitter.com.
Stop.
Please let William inherit all of your glorious fortune. That's it. That's the end of the tweet. I need to justify myself to a fucking dead man.
Yeah.
He's got better things to do.
Anyway, so what was I going to say?
I at some point
I've lost my thought.
want to play one of
What, sir?
the forlorn,
Right.
just because that sounds really fucking. But not with Odelle.
Well,
Unless.
if Odelle dies, then
Unless.
This is like, so the Forlorn is like maybe the only way to it's probably the only form of resurrection magic in my setting. And it's like not even technically resurrection. It comes with so many catches, but yeah.
But if you die, this could be the way to continue becoming an incarnate. Just not.
Yeah. Well, you'd become a kindred instead. You become a different kind of kindred. There's an idea that I've had as well, which is much more setting focused with a mechanical tie-in, which is to do with how, and I mentioned this to Xerion last week at the end of the session, to do with how will to live is spent and what it even means to have will to live. And I was thinking that like there's parts of the world where well, specifically nightmare incursions and magical dead zones and other places in the world, like what was at the bottom of Page Up Stair and stuff like that, where the will to live wouldn't work, where you would just die if you died down there.
You're fine.
Nice.
Or tying it in with like whether or not you're an incarnate. And there was an idea I had about like maybe will to live is something that only the kindred can even do at all, and so all mortals in the world don't get the will to live normally. But that would be kind of a mean thing to drop on you guys, to not say until one of you died, then wanted to will to live and couldn't.
No, sorry.
So,
About that.
yeah. So I haven't fully decided on that yet. I think what I would say is that like. Definitely mortals can't will to live in Shadowlands. Maybe mortals can't will to live at all.
No.
Maybe
Mortal can absolutely will
I
to
think
live.
they
Come
can.
on.
Yeah. I think that's taking it too far. But definitely not being able to will to live in a Shadowlands is a cool thing. Whether I think incarnates probably can will to live in a Shadowlands.
They're like the exception.
Yeah. The other exception is, I guess I should also mention this, like I've kind of buffed Arta a little bit this week, because I was thinking about like how with so many other magic systems in place that Arta's getting a little bit shafted, especially deeds points, especially with the way that colons work. So I added a couple things to the house rules for Arta that will basically mean you can spend a deeds point on a failed test to just succeed the test, but it doesn't count as a test. It just passes it, and you don't get any marginal successes. But that's what Saving Grace does instead of acting as a call-on. It's a, I don't care about advancing this skill, I just wish I'd passed that test. It's basically Wish, using a deeds point like that. The other one is Divine Aura, which is something that nobody has ever used in any of my games, but what it normally does is it removes wound penalties for the scene, and then they come back at the end of the scene, but it costs 5 fate, 3 persona, and 1 deeds point, and they just get burned into the ether. They don't contribute towards anything. So my thoughts and feelings are that for kindreds, for mortal characters, if they do this, then they come back at the end of the scene. But for kindred, if they do Divine Aura, it's like going Super Saiyan or whatever. Like all of your wounds just vanish. It's like super mode. What was the other one? I've already mentioned before the 2 deeds points to Shadeshifter skill instead of 3. And I'm toying with this idea of adding a power for persona. That when you're the target of an ability that uses one of your abilities as the obstacle, for example, a persuasion test that uses your will as the obstacle, that you can spend persona to increase that obstacle by 1 to 3, depending on how much persona you spend. Because otherwise, I realize that like you don't get anything out of that, right? If you're the player that's being persuaded, you get shit out of that interaction. It's completely passive on your end. So at least by adding this, you'd be able to, actively resist a little bit more in those kinds of tests. So yeah, I'm kind of treating Arta as an extra magic system from that point of view, because it is, really.
It's magic of the heart, Will.
Yeah, it is. It's basically.
It's the friends we made along the way. That friendship was so powerful, it made us not really notice that spear sticking out of our guts for 5.
Well, no, I mean, like to give it a kind of lore backing, I think Arta in my setting is the divinity that is in the souls of all sapient beings, and it's the way that like the reason that any sapient creature, be it man or Roden or whatever, exists at all is because of a series of events that led to the destruction and reincarnation of almost every god in existence, and that essence, that energy, permeated throughout this entire catastrophe and resulted in, man,
it's kind of like the
monkeys
the kind of
standing up
woke
on their
sentience,
hind
yeah.
legs for the first time. And the way that gods get Arta is different from the way that man gets Arta. But like they're related, definitely. So
I get my Arta by stealing it from gods, who have gotten very angry at me over the last couple sessions.
But I think that also ties in with why it's important for the incarnates that you have to get a deeds point first. It's like you're getting the attention of the gods. You're saying, "Look at me. I have the potential to change the world."
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Ooh, maybe we should give that person, maybe we should." Whatever. Anyway, so what that means is you guys need to get deeds points. If you guys want to become incarnates first, you guys need to get deeds points.
Okay.
That's gonna be done.
If you don't want to become incarnates, then you don't need deeds points.
Well, I have a question about multiple blood rituals to become an incarnate. Does it need to be my deeds points? Can I harvest them? How can I make this fantasy capitalism?
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? It's like you want to go the dark path, you want to go the easy route, then you go find a demon, or you go and
Call him up.
Shit, I just
Got
wrote
his number.
someone in chat. Sorry, Salvareth.
Oh,
I don't know when you asked that question. The setting for
Well,
this
the
game
question-
is completely custom made. Yeah, I mentioned Chronicles of Amber once in terms of like how the magic system works, but it's not really relevant to what we're talking about right now. This is basically my long running tabletop RPG setting that I've been using in some form or another, though it's changed a lot over the years for the last like 5 years. Anyway. Okay, so yeah, that took an hour. So let's play the game. Well, any other questions? Is everyone excited?
Can I get a familiar?
Yay.
Yeah, that's what
Can
the
you
that's what the Aegis that's what the Aegis synergy is. It basically functions like a familiar.
Can that familiar be anything? Does it just take different forms, or is it like one singular thing?
I imagine it takes forms. Like it probably sticks to a theme, but it's not like it's a rabbit and it's a rabbit for the rest of time now.
It's kind of like a daemon from his Dark Materials or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like I can imagine you can ride it, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a horse. And maybe it can fly, but it has to keep within your presence. Unless you astrally project through it or something.
1 second, I need to go to the co-op. Can I astrally project through my familiar?
Yeah. So I mean, so that's the option that you would take if you want a familiar type thing to be important to your character, or if you want that aspect of your character to have a physical representation in the world, then you would take that aspect and you're basically saying, this is important to my character. And you can develop the relationship over time as well. I wrote in that write-up, like at character creation, you'd take it as a relationship and you'd spend resource points on it using the normal rules. But again, since we're going through this the slow way, the in-game way, pretty much for all of you who end up going down that route, you'll have to develop that relationship slowly. And that's kind of what I've started doing with Kelu's character.
I'm excited. I don't know quite yet which one I want.
Yeah. Yeah, so probably over the next week or so, midweek and so on, I'll be making more updates and I'll be posting on the Discord when I do, and probably putting out pings and stuff when I do, and you can read over it and hopefully get inspired and hopefully come up with like secondary like character concepts for where you want to take.
Are these the 4 big things that you're making a page about, or?
Pardon?
Are these like the 4 big things that you're making a page about for the incarnates?
Yeah, I'm gonna start with the incarnates, because that's the ones that
Still liking the gravity thing, but I will wait until you give me a bit more.
Yeah. So I have one of them. One of them is worked out already. I've got one of them done, more or less. I just haven't written it up on the World Anvil page yet. And now that I know what format to put them in and how to write them, I should be able to get more of them done over the next couple of weeks. Cool. All right. So, when last we left our heroes,
they escaped a big bird.
They had escaped a big bird, whilst rowing down a river. And the folks had, what had they done? They had they were heading to Polnagolum, which is a flooded and evil-looking place that they visited a few sessions ago and then ran away from. But now they're coming back, and this time it's personal. So since no one's changed their beliefs since last session, and since we've already been talking for an hour, I think it's probably easiest to just dive right in. So, you are headed upstream. You found the tributary to the Esquire River, and the tributary that heads up towards Polnagolem, and you've taken that turn just as the dragon swooped down to try and peck at your boat one last time, and it skidded across the water, slammed into a bridge which collapsed, and then it pirouetted and flew away to try and find an easier meal. So you are heading, further upstream, further up towards Polnagolem now, and it takes you most of the rest of the afternoon, but you eventually come back to that little area where the broken watermill was, and the tree with all of the tangled dead bodies in it, and the little jetty that you'd moored on last time, and still... Pardon?
Because I want to keep an eye out, because there might be a chance that Wolf Lady has put up watch or something since her last incursion.
So since the last time you came here, some things have changed. The water level is a little bit lower now, but the water level... So if you remember, it was kind of like a 10-foot drop with the staircase and the jetty, and the drop was where the watermill was, and there was the tree above that on the hill, and then it was fields, flooded fields of corn and wheat that seemed to be unnaturally overflowing with water, despite the fact that that this area shouldn't have been affected by the flood as much as the rest of the valley was. That is still occurring. It is still at that level of water, and it's all just like pouring down the steps onto the jetty and pouring off the side, and the watermill is still broken, and there's still that strange bubbling under the water that was beneath the waterfall. And now that the water level has lowered a little bit, where you're pulling up, you can see a little bit clearer into the water where the bubbling is coming from, and you can just about make out in the now slightly less murky water that there's some kind of hulking mass down in the sludge at the bottom of this part of the river that's releasing these bubbles. Keeping an eye out your whole way here, Jen, pretty much there's nothing too out of place. Everything still looks dreary. Although you do notice, I guess you all notice, that like as you're pulling up to this dock, pretty much as soon as you come within range of Polnagolem, so to speak, it starts raining. And you remember seeing this cloud just like hanging over the whole of Polnagolem when you were in the dam and looking in this direction before, and it seems like that rain cloud hasn't moved. Yeah.
How long did it take us to get here between?
So that's the other thing. It's now kind of sunset.
So like 3 hours, 5 hours. I basically want to know if I would have recast Mage Sense.
You were helping to row, weren't you?
Yeah.
So probably not.
Yeah, okay.
This land is still under a curse. I can feel it.
She must be doing something to the town. Everything here feels unnatural.
Cloud definitely still shouldn't have been here. Not after so long.
I suppose we should go look for her.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lucian went and fought Gar in the windmill, right?
Yeah, so between, we'll call it the docks, where you're at the moment, or the jetty. Between there and Polnagollum proper, there is a big old flooded field of probably wheat, and it's about a 10-minute walk from the jetty to town or the village, and halfway between, so about a 5-minute walk from the jetty, is that windmill that Gar was killed in.
Okay. At some point, I want to go check to make sure that his body is still there, because we don't know if like this witch is reanimating dead bodies or if she's taken over live bodies.
Yeah, like, well, so they weren't technically zombies. They were, like, wrapped in lichen or, like, something.
There's some crazy Last of Us shit.
Like, puppeteered by it or something. Also,
Crazy.
out of game, I have a plan for dealing with the witch. I would like people
Oh,
to hear
really?
the plan.
Okay.
Well, why don't you say it
so-
in game?
No, that might be a good idea.
Yes.
Nah, that sounds too sensible.
Yeah, that's silly. We don't want characterization based on trust. Okay, guys. I have a plan for dealing with the witch. Now, her magic is strong, but it's not infallible. Like any user, she relies on the energies that flow in the ambient air, but I know a spell that can disrupt those energies. Though it will leave me moderately useless throughout the fight, as I won't be able to access the mind. If I hit her with it, and if she tries to dissipate, it will make it a lot harder for her to run away or fight. And if she does, Romienji, you have the knife that can slash her even when she does the thing that she used to sneak up on us before.
Romienji takes out the knife and
The
swaps it
connection.
out for his other dagger so that it's readily available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's this like red steel knife, stiletto blade.
Good for stabbing.
I think if we
Good
can
for
sneak
witch
up on
slaying.
her, I think if we can sneak up on her, we have a good chance of taking her out before she even realizes we're there.
I'm gonna keep
Whatever's
on watch
happening
for
here.
How do you propose we sneak up on her?
Well, first of all, we'll need to find out where she is, which is the hard bit. But then I kind of gesture towards the epicenter where the cloud's hanging over. It's a good chance she's at the center of that.
I want to keep an eye out for that like rainbow smear that came by the first time that she hid on us. I don't know whether she's using other methods to stay invisible maybe this time, but I think last time there was like a tell to it.
Yeah, probably because that's a spell or because that's a special effect, and you have now encountered it once before. Probably it would be easiest to cover that base by writing an instinct that says like keep an eye out for that thing, and then you can potentially you could get yourself in trouble by saying, you're too focused looking out for strange chromatic aberrations, But if you do see one, then you'll definitely get the chance to see it then, as opposed to constantly saying or constantly asking, oh, is there a chromatic aberration here? Do I see anything? So by having it as an instinct, it becomes passive then.
All right.
I also kind of feel like the chromatic aberration should be tested kind of passively through perception, not like as an actual roll, but kind of like we're looking out for it now because we know to expect it since we're looking for it.
Mm.
That's kind of the instinct thing, though. Like, there's not really like a passive perception skill.
Yeah, no, there isn't a passive.
Yeah,
It's
what I mean by
it's
like,
for instincts.
how
Yeah.
Will said before, like, okay, I'll tell you about what's in a room if it's important, and we'll only really test for perception if you're looking for something that's like
Difficult.
not initially there or also very difficult to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I've thought about that because perception's one of those skills that only advances with successful tests. It seems reasonable to me that you can just like the GM can make silent perception tests, or another way I've thought about doing it is like like everyone rolls, in like one big pool or something, and then if it's like a high enough ob, then the GM like just says everyone mark a difficult perception test or something because you see such and such. But yeah, I don't know really. I haven't.
Yeah, let's just roll with
yeah.
like this for now. It doesn't really
Yeah,
matter
I think
that much.
leaving it as an instinct for now, as long as it's not phrased like always know when danger is coming, because that's like
always
sixth
know
sense.
when the witch is near.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an instinct like that is possible to write, but only with a trait called sixth sense.
My witch sense is tingling.
Yes.
Stabs Romienji with a pin.
Why a
I
pin?
haven't used any magic.
What?
You're a
You
witch!
you just want to stab Romienji.
Astor, you're a wizard. Nope! I am Astor the Witch Hunter! Put your thumbs in these thumb screws. I'm gonna burn you at the stake.
Fetch me a duck.
We must weigh her. And if she sinks, she is not a witch. But if she floats, she is a witch. And we shall burn her.
Goodness gracious.
Anyway, yeah. So,
That's how it works, right?
pardon?
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's your plan? Like, you're heading straight for Polnagolem, or what? Like, you guys are in control.
The center of the town.
Say again, sorry?
I think we should head towards the center of the town.
Well, now, hold on. Before we get any closer to this town, we need to know. We have to kind of figure out a game plan of what exactly we think we're going to be up against. We already know that this creature, this wolf woman, she can hide within the waters or something. We have to be prepared. What are we going to do about the townspeople? She has them under her command.
I'm uncertain of what she's doing to command them, but that's why
My
I think...
concern is that we are 4 people against who knows how many people she's managed to grab and put into this village. We need a plan of action. We want to help. We can't just charge in there.
You're right, we need some kind of way to make sure that the zombies aren't going to interrupt us while we're fighting the witch. Maybe a diversion or something.
Romienji looks at Edvard.
Astor looks at Edvard.
Odelle looks at Edvard?
Edvard, how loud can you scream?
Not very loud, apparently. He's fallen asleep again.
God damn it.
Lucian.
The quietest. God damn it.
Lucian, wake up. God damn it.
He's dead. He's probably gonna go make himself tea or something in his stupid kitchen, and he's got like his headphones on, but he can't say anything.
Maybe. He's
Or at
also
least
away on Discord.
that's what he claims, but I'm pretty sure he fell asleep.
1 second, I can test this. Okay. He's apparently literally about to unmute himself.
I
think he
don't
walked to get
know
tea or
a
something.
particular plan, but I'm definitely going to run ahead and pay no attention.
Why is he French?
It's the most
I
annoying
remember
accent I can
Edvard
think
being
of.
French.
It's the most annoying thing I can think of.
Also, Lucian, if you're speaking, we can't hear you.
I'm aware.
Oh,
Okay.
he was definitely asleep. Look, hear that voice. That's
No,
the
he's
voice.
just tired. I think he legitimately was, because he picked up, like, right away when I called him. If he's asleep, it would have, like, rung for at least 4 more times.
What you think? He could have been asleep and he just woke up like long enough to hear you say that you were going to call him.
How much
Anyway.
have you missed, Lucian?
Not much. Like,
That's what you.
How do you know how
Probably
much you've
about-
missed or haven't missed?
no, I've missed about 10 minutes, maybe at most.
What was the last thing you heard?
Let's see. Will was talking about incarnates.
That was a while
And he
ago.
was talking. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know that was a while ago. Like,
Listen, forget all of that. We're in Pulmagolem now. We're devising a plan of attack. Astor wants to lead a diversion so he can lead the zombies away so we might be able to get into the town without having to fight all the townspeople. Are you in or are you out? Are you willing to be bait? How loud can you scream?
I'm looking for explosives.
Yeah, but you're not in the town now. The party are talking
No.
about how to approach
We're
and
still
what
in the
their
boat.
plan is, right?
Yeah.
We are outside of Pulmagolem. We are still in the boat. We are docked.
we're
We are trying to
role-playing.
come up with a together plan of attack. Together, as a group. All of us. Together.
Yeah. I have like half a strategy, so I have a game plan for fighting the witch, which is basically I cast fucking Lay Rift, and it stops her from being able to cast magic easily. But it also nerfs my ability to cast magic easily and Odelle's ability to cast magic easily.
Oh, are you shitting me?
Yeah, basically anyone. Actually, there may be a way I can cleverly use it, but it depends on like the scene of where she is and like the room, for example. But I'm just gonna plan for worst case scenario. We're all like kind of demagicked. So what I might, it doesn't affect sustained spells,
Yeah, it does.
does it? I thought it was only casting.
If it hit another spellcaster while they're casting or sustaining a spell.
Mm.
Could have sworn it was just like. Oh
Nope.
fuck!
It's
think
like
I'm not
That
repeating
makes sense,
anything.
because it wouldn't have helped
basically
anyway.
it's basically counterspell.
Yeah, but it's like an area effect one over a certain like amount of time.
Yeah, like normally to counterspell you like get an opposing element, like a spell of an opposing element, and then you make like a versus will test or something. I can't
Okay,
remember exactly
well,
how it
in
works.
that case, that solves our zombie problem.
But Lay Rift is kind of like an AoE disruption for everyone, including yourself.
Yeah. I mean, this is like. I think this is fine considering most people in this fucking party are melee powered anyway. Even Odelle probably does more damage through their bow than they will do through spellcasting. They can one shot me if they want. They could probably kill the witch in one. I just gotta give you that shot, Odelle.
It's so the other thing about Lay Rift is like it's an area of effect. So if you leave the AoE, then it's not gonna. Yeah.
That's why I want to corner
if
the witch.
it will affect yourself if you cast it on yourself or like in a small space that you're also standing in, but otherwise, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, I think it's a pretty good strategy against the witch anyway. Even if it does nerf us all.
It's fine.
Okay.
Anyway, so
most of us have a way to attack anyway, regardless.
yeah.
Like, I can just bash her with my staff if it comes down to it, but that's not really great, because it's like, what?
It's still something.
Mm.
Yeah. I won't be completely useless.
That's what
Anyway,
you
so
think.
we're looking at Edvard to be a distraction.
Mm.
Let's split up, gang.
Okay.
Odelle, you come with me. Scrappy, Scooby.
Get out of here.
You go fight the bog witch. My favorite episode of Scooby-Doo. Yeah, you down to be a distraction?
No.
Okay.
Edvard is not down with any of this.
Okay, what does he say?
Obviously enough, I'm not going to be a distraction. It's suicide.
Edvard looks back. Shame. Sorry, Astor looks back. I'm not Edvard.
Really now?
Jeez.
I'm both Edvard and Astor now. I have double role playing. Get on my fucking level. Anyway, okay, well then, do you have any ideas on how we should sneak up on the witch?
I look at Edward. I'm like, Edward, what if I went with you?
Even then, Odelle, I'm fairly sure it would be suicide. However, I do have an alternate idea.
Does it
Polna
involve you
Golem
going
is a
off by
fairly
yourself?
large town, correct?
No, it's quite a small
It's
village.
been here for a long time.
It's quite a small
Okay.
village. It's like a handful of houses and a field.
Okay, so the way you've been describing it for the past couple of sessions is it's a town.
I've
Yeah, like
I've
you did say on
occasionally said
episode,
town
it's-
as a slip of the tongue, but it's always been a village.
Okay.
It's just very
Small.
small.
Caramore is more of a town. Caramore is closer to a town than Polna Golem is.
Okay.
At the beginning, you literally said Polna Golem was bigger than Caramel.
Too late. Amend your
Retcon has
plans on
occurred.
the fly.
Fine. Whatever.
I volunteer to be bait.
I'm still in the middle of telling you the plan. So
I mean, if anything, Bright, we would be the best choices. Our speed is 5.
We're very fast.
We are super fast. We're much
And
faster
Odelle
than
has
these
a good
guys.
combat skill just in case you get into like a fight with them.
I'm aware. Can I get Edvard to finish telling you his plan
Yeah,
before
go
you
ahead.
go jumping to conclusions?
Mhm.
Thank you. Okay, so Edvard stares pensively at the small village that lies before us, the challenge, as it were. And he goes, as a small farming village, I would guess, Polnagolum should have some form of storage area for very words. For very volatile materials that they gather when farming, correct?
What kind of fucking farming do you think they're farming for uranium?
What? No. Have you never heard of a manure bomb, Jack?
Go for fertilizer.
Oh God.
Fertilizer
No,
bomb.
that sounds
Yes,
horrifying.
that.
I don't want to think about you telling me that there's bombs out there that literally explode shit.
No, there's bombs out there that literally explode using the nitrates and stuff in fertilizer.
Yeah, it's a way you can make gunpowder out of the ammonia compounds and such in fertilizer.
What if you have
Yep.
to refine it?
And
Yeah.
kind
Not
of and kind of not.
necessarily.
Okay.
Like, it makes more powerful things if you refine it, but it can also just be used straight up as an explosive.
Okay, so explain your plan about how you're going to use this fertilizer.
I'm gonna make fertilizer bombs. I'm going to blow the witch up. It is the easiest way to do this thing.
Okay,
I mean,
I have
to be
That's-
quite honest,
rebuttal
it's
to
the
That
that
still
easiest
plan.
way
doesn't.
to
That
do
still
it
doesn't take
without
care of
getting
our.
anywhere near.
Guys, one at a time, please.
Hold on. That doesn't take care of our original problem, which is that we still need to contend with all of the villagers that are here.
It
How are
does.
we gonna handle? We can't blow them up. They might still be alive.
No, we're not planning on blowing them up. Look, we have one specific problem. The witch, we don't know how to kill her. All we know is that she has been killed, according to Astor, at least 9 times. 9 of those times, I don't know what's on that list, but I'm fairly sure explosives isn't one of them. It is the easiest way to kill her.
Neither is
So-
being stabbed through the heart.
I'm fairly sure you said stabbing was on the list.
Not through the heart.
But she's been stabbed, right?
1 second. Astor pulls out a sheet of paper. Okay, I've got a checklist here. Stabbing, poison, thrown down a
See?
well,
Stabbing.
drowning,
She's been stabbed.
smashing, burning. Well, explosion's a type of burning, right?
Not necessarily. It can be a
She could be
very,
exploded into
very.
pieces, I guess.
I
Exactly.
think, personally, we should go with Odelle's solution and bury her alive.
Well, sure. If you
did I say
want to
that?
take the time and find the time to actually look for a patch of ground to bury her in, dig a hole, and keep her at bay while you're at it, of course. Or we could simply lay an explosive trap, then send me or Odelle, who actually probably just me, into the town very quickly, run out, jump over the explosive trap, and when that witch thing comes out, it gets blown into a million pieces. Simple.
Okay. How are you planning on making sure the villagers survive?
Well, we obviously lure them in a different direction.
Fantastic. Who's going to be doing the luring?
You, of course.
Oh, okay. And I'm supposed to just completely trust that you're not going to kill people.
But
Of course
Astor,
I'm not
okay,
gonna
regardless
kill
of
people.
that,
Have you
Astor's
ever
not
seen
the-
me actually kill anyone?
You know what? No, I haven't. Odelle, have you seen Edvard kill anyone?
That's a good question. Odelle has to think back. I don't actually think you've killed anybody.
I think Odelle has killed more
Right,
people
right.
than anyone.
Yeah,
else.
I've killed more people.
Like, even the person who I was closest to killing, I didn't actually kill.
It was
I
me.
thought you killed Gar.
Romienji
No,
killed.
I killed Gar.
Right.
Yeah. I
I'm
didn't
forgetting
kill
I wasn't actually
anyone.
there for that fight.
The only thing I've actually technically killed was the weird Medusa-esque, like, pharaoh monster.
okay.
And the only reason I did that was because it was a weird Medusa-esque pharaoh monster that didn't show any signs of proper coherent sentience. And also I wanted to watch something explode. So, ergo, I haven't technically killed anyone yet.
Well, Astor really doesn't trust you, so you're gonna have to do a bit more convincing for that.
Regardless of whether or not we trust anybody, come on, get it, have we gotten over this? Astor isn't the fastest person out there. Sorry, Astor.
No,
We are.
no offense taken.
If anything, it makes sense that one of us two would be the ones to lead away the townsfolk, right? Keeping them at bay. While someone else takes the care of baiting the witch. Now, currently, seeing as you're going to make the bombs, I should lead the townspeople away.
I can respect that decision.
I have a question. How long is it going to take you to make these bombs? Because the sun's going down and we're losing light.
It doesn't have to necessarily be right now, today.
Indeed, but if I get the right ingredients, well, in that respect,
Mm-hmm.
can I don't know if it's possible, but could I call on my mad Uncle Ivan as a weapons designer to semi-help with background information on bomb making?
You mean like open it without double testing or something?
Is it like would that be like a linked circles test somehow?
Yes.
Well, hang on. So your uncle is somewhere in Bermachia, right?
He's somewhere in Bermachia.
Right.
But
we
I'm
haven't,
more
we haven't really
speaking about...
established. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm more talking about having established a past event, essentially.
You want to do a flashback?
So, like, sort of, yeah. Like, in ye olde days when me and my parents went to visit Mad Uncle Ivan, at the time, he might have been testing bombs, and he taught me how to use them and make them. Something like that.
Right. Okay. So ordinarily, like that would be represented by what you spent general skill points like character creation on, but I think it's a good idea, and since we haven't seen like this character and it is a character that you bought as a relationship, I think it's a creative use of that. Yeah, it's a creative idea. I think it's a good idea. You won't have the munition skill, but it might be I think it would be a reasonable justification to get an advantage dice on your beginner's luck test.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay. So, in that case, I would probably be able to... Actually, the estimation of time it would take to make a fertilizer bomb
Depends
would
on the...
depend on the beginner's luck result of munition skill.
Yes, it also depends on the skill type, which I've just looked up is artisan. And artisan skills typically take days or weeks.
Ooh.
So I think.
But I mean, that would be like a real, like, proper thought out bomb. What if you
Yeah.
just wanted to slap some shit together?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't want to make the perfect fertilizer bomb
Hang on.
here, Will.
Yeah.
I want to make a possibly working explosive trap.
Yeah. The other thing that we're talking about munitions, which is like more industrial. So let me check the firebomb skill instead, which is a Roden skill normally, but it might be more appropriate.
He got taught while he was here. It's just one of those
Yes.
things. You seek out what you know, right?
Yeah. Because on the surface, firebombs and munitions are very similar, but because they're given a different name, I wonder whether they are. Yeah, okay, they are different. So firebombs is a craftsman skill, not an artisan skill, and it doesn't require a workshop.
Okay.
It does require tools, though.
I have tools. They're not necessarily.
Do you have
for
craftsman
bomb
tools?
making. Yeah, I think
Do you?
so. Like I have forger's tools. I think they count.
Yeah,
right?
they're specialist tools, I think.
Oh, okay. Let me think. Like I have tools for lockpicking, disguise,
Yeah,
and forgery.
yeah.
Like I have general tools.
Yeah. No, tools are on a skill type basis. So
Right.
without craftsman tools, the ob will double a second time.
Oof.
However, the ob is like remarkably low.
Okay. that still doesn't bode well with.
Small bottle
Goes to an ob
size
of 4.
bombs. Basically a Molotov cocktail. Yeah. So I guess you could either try and look for tools first. I guess it depends on how long you want to spend on like trying to get this plan in place.
Yeah.
Which I think I would like contest with like how your proximity to Paul Nagolum and
Does the
likely,
witch notice us?
Basically,
essentially?
yeah. So I think it's definitely a reasonable intent, and you have a belief written about it. It's getting dark though, and yeah, it's really a question of how long you want to spend on this shit. Literally.
Okay. So, like, I can get if I work carefully on this with the right tools.
You get another bonus dice for working carefully.
Yeah.
And you have
But
Arter
you
as well.
can add another failure consequence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Romienji puts his knife to his throat. Now you have to work very carefully. +1.
Yeah. So you could save a persona and focus if you wanted to avoid that second
I have one
failure
persona.
consequence.
I'm not gonna. Okay, let me think. I'm just gonna say, with the right equipment, tools, and components, I could compose a very fairly powerful explosive in about 2-3 hours. Though we'll need a fair amount more to take on the witch. But I think if I'm given the night, I could probably find and whip up a working solution to some fairly powerful explosives by the morning. And since it's getting dark, we don't want to face the witch at night. I would highly recommend against that, mainly because she has the ability to turn invisible, and I'm not particularly tempted to go up against that in the dark, especially when we can only see the light of her existence during the day.
This is true. We don't want to open ourselves up to ambush. Especially not.
Okay, should we go back and make camp on the hill we were before?
Is there any land that's closer to Pulmagolem, but not like within the rain clouds? Because I'm gonna assume that the rain cloud is kind of like the limits of her domain.
Hmm.
Or we could
Um,
make camp in the windmill.
I feel like that might go very south.
We got
Oh yeah,
attacked
there's
near
still
the
a dead
windmill.
body
It's like I
there.
climbed
There's
that
still
thing.
a lot of dead bodies there.
If we go to fucking sleep in the dead body windmill, it's like raising a flag in an RPG for Will to give us a zombie attack throughout the night.
No, it'd be
I mean,
fantastic.
maybe we do want a zombie.
This is like the
Maybe
shit they
we
told in
do.
the Walking Dead series, where it's just like, don't worry, it's fine, we'll be on the top floor. And then we wake up and like there's 50 zombies below us, and it's just like, shit, we're dead.
Just jump out the window. Do a roll.
Do a flip. Do a
Do a
flip.
Barrel.
Do a barrel roll.
So the land is completely sodden at this point. So if you want to set up a camp on dry ground or relatively dry ground, you're gonna have to go uphill. If you look at the map, you'll see that Pollen Golem's kind of in a valley, so you could go up either side, either into the forested side or up onto the hill that faces the dam. Whichever you like. And I suppose I think Edvard still needs to get the materials to make
Yeah, we
this
have to.
stuff,
We probably
which
should
I think
go.
would require.
Hold on, let me say this in character. We should probably go and at least try to raid the village while there's still a little bit of light left, and then maybe we can spend the rest of tomorrow, potentially, if we have them, setting up for Edvard's plan.
I agree with Odelle. It would be wise to use our last light to prepare.
Okay, so I think I'll say, to help maybe retroactively justify where Edvard got this idea from as well, is because you tried scavenging in the windmill last time you were in there, didn't you?
Yes.
So maybe you weren't really looking for this stuff at the time, but you remember now that there is stuff in the windmill that would help you to make these bombs.
You saw just like piles and piles of shit.
Piles and piles
And
of
I
manure.
could make a bomb.
Piles and piles of manure and like alcohol in the cupboards and some other bits
Actually,
and
the
pieces.
alcohol in the cupboards would be really handy in this.
Like there's stuff in the. So basically, you're gonna what I'm saying is you're gonna have to go to the windmill first before you can even attempt the test.
Right.
And then yeah, it'll probably take a few hours. So it's up to you how you want to manage that time. Okay. So let's take a very short break because I need to go to the toilet. And then we'll
How
jump.
dare you not go to the bathroom before you started the session? That's
It
fine.
was 2 hours ago. And then we'll see what happens at the windmill.
Can't believe Will didn't go to the bathroom before starting this session.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you go to the bathroom before you go on long car trips.
All right. Be right back. Whoops. I didn't mean to disconnect. I just meant
You
to
just
deafen.
died. You literally died.
Let's try that again.
Yeah.
All right, we're back. Welcome back.
I'm not back yet.
Wow. Every time I ask a question to everyone and no one answers. Are we all ready? Silence.
Yes, Mr. Will. Good morning, Mr. Will.
Yeah, no, I'm like that teacher who just needs one affirmation. It's like, are we all ready? One person says yes. All right, let's all go. I'm starting the lecture. I don't care.
If you really think about it, Will is less of a professor. He's more like of a guardian, really. The
He's
guardian
the
of the
grad
story.
student that's not getting
He's-
paid to take over a lecture.
He's like a protective figure, almost like a daddy. We should just call him Daddy Will.
On stream, and I don't
Yeah,
appreciate
that's what DM stands for.
Daddy Master.
I personally welcome our new Daddy Masters.
I don't.
I, for one, welcome our Daddy Master. All salutations they bring.
Will,
Can
we need
play a
one dad
fucking
joke
game
from
now?
No, we need one dad joke from Will. He has to cement his precision as his new Daddy Master.
I can't just. I'm not a real dad. I can't just drop dad jokes. Like,
Disappointing.
You know, there'll be
Kelly,
thousands
give
of
us a-
people in
give us a
Liverpool
dad
tonight,
joke.
Will.
doesn't
give me
Kelly
a
can
number.
cheat. Kelly's got a book
Yeah.
of dad jokes.
Yeah.
I do. So give me a number.
72.
72. Okay.
Like a real dad
Dear.
at work.
I did a theatrical performance about puns. It was a play on words.
Oh. I feel tired now. Like that just knocked the wind out of me. All right, my free will has been beaten down. We may continue the game.
Cool. So you head up the steps from the jetty, and you keep trudging towards the windmill through the sort of knee-deep, now rotting field, and the rain gets harder and harder as you approach the windmill. There are still a few corpses of the zombies around here, just like in the muck. And when you get into the windmill itself, you find that Gar's body has been removed.
Oh, thank God.
Well, it's a thank God situation.
Well,
What are you
he's
all
either
worried
been
about? Is this
buried.
the windmill?
You know Echo and Hollock. They're not the type to bury people.
Yeah. I mean, my suspicions were he's either been buried, which is very kind of them for a change, or he's been turned into a zombie. It's one of the two.
But you're in the light. Why do I keep saying lighthouse? Windmill. This happened.
We're in the
this
lighthouse.
happened, this happened last
the lighthouse
time as well.
that is in
Yeah.
that is completely land.
This happened last time we were in here as well. I don't know what. It's something about this. So
Architecture
you're in the windmill.
and this place is just blending together.
You're in the windmill, and it's still like the table is overturned. There's shit strewn all over the place from the last time you fought in here, and you start rummaging through and finding the bits and pieces that you think you'll need. Bottles of alcohol and piles of shit. And
In the bags of the
everywhere.
fertilizer, yeah.
I think to sort of skip forwards a bit, so the bottles and manure and stuff like that. That is, that's what's allowing you to make the test. That's the materials, because it's a craftsman skill. You don't have craftsman's tools, but what I will do is roll a die of fate. If it's a 1, then you will find some low quality craftsman tools in the shed. No. Okay. So so yeah, you don't really have the tools. You have the materials, you don't really have the tools, so you'll have to like improvise a bit when you make these things. Luckily, the ob will only be 1, but it doubles for beginner's luck and then doubles again for not having tools.
Okay. So essentially it's ob 4.
Yeah. But don't roll it just yet. What else is in here? It's dry in here, though the floor is like the bottom floor, the the kitchen floor and first floor, whatever it's called, that you
Isn't
come
the
in
kitchen floor flagstones?
Yeah. But it's flooded. There's like a layer.
Yeah,
There's like
yeah.
an inch or so of water.
It's like an inch of silt and stuff. Just sort of sitting on the top.
But there's a sort of second. There's a second story to the living space, which goes into the kind of attic, and that's where the beds are. That's sort of this ladder up into the rafters where the beds are. It looks like 3 people lived here. Two adults and a child, and Roden, obviously, and then there's the section of the windmill which has the actual mill in it, and that section is like completely ruined. The cogs of the mill are damaged, and the windmill shaft is rotting, and even as you are approaching the building from the outside, like it seems to have taken on the same kind of scum that the main village has appeared to have the last time you visited here. This kind of mossy, no, not really mossy, like lichen-y scale that sort of covers everything. So what was the plan? Sorry, were you wanting to stay here in the lighthouse or find shelter elsewhere? Or make shelter elsewhere, rather?
I would rather not.
Will.
Mm?
It's not a lighthouse. It's a window.
Did I say lighthouse again?
Yes,
Wow,
you
love
did.
this lighthouse we're in. I'm having such a good time in this lighthouse, guys. Someone turn on the lights. Oh, they're not there because it's a fucking windmill.
Look, just it's a bad Japanese translation, okay?
What the fuck is this? Some sort of crazy fandom?
Watching Odelle. Why
I
are you
love
looking at
this-
my chest,
I love
Astor? I'm reading the
these
subtitles,
Joe-
Odelle. I can't understand you. You're speaking Roden. I'm reading the subtitle.
God.
Will.
My frying pan becomes a drying pan.
Will.
Yeah.
If we stay at the windmill and I work on the second floor, can I get a bonus dice for it being dry? I'm trying to scrounge all the bonus dice I can here.
Maybe if you asked for help, maybe you get an extra bonus.
None of us have explosives.
Can't help on being land.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
With
you
explosives.
can with
You can.
I feel like it's appropriate that no one else would know what the fuck you're doing, though. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Um,
no one here has explosives, so no one can help.
Puts a bunch of nails in the sack here for extra damage.
Yeah. Okay. So I was thinking about it while I was getting my coffee. Like, probably what we'll say is that you're getting help. You're getting retroactive help from your uncle, and so
Yeah.
normally you can only scrounge for one advantage dice, but I think help is different from advantage dice. So yeah, I think being in dry conditions will be would would also, it's a good idea. So yeah, if you want to stay in the rafters, I think you'd also get a
Okay.
bonus dice for that.
Mm,
But
Yeah.
you're closer to
Okay,
town
so
or the village.
yeah, that's fine.
yes. I will also
So
be
I
on the
have
second floor with Edvard because I have to look after him.
okay, so I have a bonus dice from my uncle.
Is that a instinct?
A
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
Hmm
Okay, well, if
thought you were
this
gonna
goes
give him a
wrong,
flashback.
then your instinct will you'll both get it.
Yep.
Oh,
Nice.
okay. Well,
How many
as I
hours
was
is
saying,
Pardon?
I said it'd take between 2 and 3. Though depending, it
Yeah.
might
Are
take
you
most of
working
the night.
carefully as well?
I'm working carefully,
Yeah.
so I get
I
a
think
point for that.
so. That'll
I
increase the
get
time
a
to
point.
about 5 hours.
Yeah. Okay, so I get a bonus dice from working carefully, a bonus dice from dry conditions, and a bonus dice from my uncle. So
Yeah.
that's +3 bonus dice. What is firebombs based in?
Perception and agility.
Okay. Perception and agility. No, not firebombs.
Bubums. Good.
Oh, fire bibbums.
Okay, Will, would you like to outline the consequences of
Yes.
my failure?
So failure is going to be you definitely set the windmill on fire.
Okay.
Mhm.
And if you get, yeah, so I think normal failure will be you set the windmill on fire, you alert the village that that someone's here. Additional failure consequence from time is going to be what's a good one? Because it's already nighttime now.
You alert the witch.
Well, that's already the failure consequence.
Oh, I
'cause
thought it was just like the algae people.
Well, I mean, it's the whole village, really.
The whole
You're
village,
setting
right,
the
right,
light,
After
the
dead 2,
windmill
you
on.
alert the witch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The extra time based consequence for working carefully. I think.
You have the the scent of poo for the rest of the week.
Yeah, or I could up the stakes. Actually, I could say. I think that's what I'll do instead. Is I'll up the stakes instead of adding an extra time based consequence. So if you fail and set the lighthouse on fire, fucking hell, windmill on fire, then you will.
Will be a lighthouse if he fails.
Not only will the village know that you're there, but like they'll swarm, they'll swarm the burning. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so my
And there's
base
another
obstacle
failure
is
consequence.
1.
Sorry, yeah, there's one last
God,
failure
okay.
consequence, which is if you get absolute failure, which is no successes at all, then you and Romienji will take will take the firebomb damage, as though it misfired.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Mhm.
Fair enough. Okay, so my base obstacle is 1, and then
Yeah,
additional
put it as put additional complications plus 2, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
can I make a roll for Cercination to draw a circle of protection?
Oh,
around-
yes!
Oh, did it! Hey.
Nice.
I got a 6 on it. Oh, oh, that was close.
Well done. Marginal success doesn't really do much,
Good
but well
job.
done.
Oh, God.
I
That
was
was
gonna say before you
stressful.
rolled was like, can I draw a circle of protection around them so if they fail they don't fucking die? But I
Too
guess that's
late.
not necessary
It's fine.
anymore.
It's done. Oh my God.
I think we're like
Oh.
genuinely surprised at how skillful he does this. Like we're all kind of like thinking, yeah, okay, sure, you know, Bomb's kind of standing back, like, okay, he's gonna blow himself up, but he's just like he just starts working. It's like, oh my god, this guy knows what he's doing.
Oh my God.
So yeah, so these are
Okay.
small incendiary. Sorry, a small incendiary device. What does it look like? Made of manure and bottles, I guess.
So essentially, what I've done is what Edvard has done is he's taken all of the bottles of alcohol he could find in the windmill, and he's just dumped them into a bucket. Like there's just this big barrel just filled like about a third of the way up um with alcohol, and then he's slowly been dousing fertilizer in this alcohol, and then he's been putting it inside like small packages. Like they look like little brown paper bags, but slightly sturdier. Like they're little round cardboard sort of balls, essentially, with a wick sticking out the top of them.
Okay, so like a cluster bomb almost.
Not exactly. They're more like a grenade,
Okay.
as in they're more focused on the explosive power than the actual fragmentation, because they don't really have a hard casing to explode out of.
Yeah.
That can provide shrapnel. So it's more like instant explosion, boom, boom, boom. And the force of that explosion is what rips things apart, rather than a fragmentation bomb, which would essentially throw shrapnel everywhere.
I guess you could put it in like a rusty bucket to add a little bit of pressure. Maybe.
Yeah.
And then you can carry it around just in a bucket.
Yeah. I mean, like that's the next point that I was going to make. After Edvard has made these little bombs, he's essentially tied all of the wicks together into sort of one big long thing, and he's put it inside this old metal like container. It's not exactly a bucket. I'm not sure where you'd find a metal bucket in Bermechia in an abandoned windmill.
That's a
It
good
would
point.
probably have been looted.
Yeah.
But like, it's this old wooden bucket with like metal rivets or metal
maybe one
nails.
of the spools from the mill or something.
Yeah, that could work. And it's like
find one of the rusty gears and grind it up into shrapnel.
the end result is like it's a really rusty looking bomb, but it's a bomb, and it's probably extremely volatile if not set off in the right way.
Yeah. Okay. So add so in your combat tab.
Okay.
Add. I guess like improvised bomb to your missile weapon tab. And the IMS range is, let me check.
Oh yeah, could I get an IMS range for Gar's bow as well? Because I haven't put that.
Oh right, yeah, that should be in your missile weapons, not your melee weapons. But
Oh
yeah.
right. Yeah, I don't
Okay,
need
so
that.
for the explosive, it's the I is B3.
Okay.
The M is a B6.
Hmm.
The S is a B9. And the
Oof.
VA is 4/2. And that means if you're directly above it, it's VA4. If you're in the blast radius, it's VA2.
Okay.
Oh my god, you would have to be
Um,
wearing like at least some type of
And
plate.
the die of fate, which is what will determine the IMS, is a standard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 range. So I is 1 or 2, M is 3 or 4, S is 5 or 6 on a die of fate.
So like a bow.
Yeah, like most ranged weapons, to be honest.
Wow, that's
You only
holy
have
shit.
you only have one, and there's a thing called the gunpowder die, which is before you can even throw it or use it, you'll have to roll a die of fate, and on a 1, it just blows up.
So on a 1, this
You just fucking
improvised
die.
bomb can just explode in my hand.
Yes.
Great.
On this episode of Drowned Rats, Edvard loses his hand.
Oh no, sorry. I tell a lie. It's on a 1, then you roll another die of fate, and on a 1 to 3, it blows up in your hand, and on a 4 to 6, it's a dud.
Okay, that's less horrible.
Yeah. Okay, so that's your improvised bomb, and then your bow is I believe it's a great bow.
No, it's just a regular bow.
As in, I
As far as
believe I have it marked as a great bow. So,
Oh right.
the I is a B4, the M is a B8, the S is a B12, the VA is 2. The optimal range is 2 dice. The extreme range is 4 dice. And the IMS is the same range as the improvised bomb.
Okay, so 1 to 2, 3 to 4.
Yeah. 5. Cool. Congrats.
Well, that was stressful.
Yeah.
I mean, you held a bomb in your hands. You're still holding a bomb in your hands.
Yes, yes, I am. I'm holding a very volatile, experimental bomb
Shit
in
bomb.
my hands right now.
A shit bomb.
I don't know why, but I'm getting deja vu suddenly. What could it be? Oh yeah, it's the time I made an experimental bomb and you all fuckers decided to knock it out of my hands and we all died, but it was retconned for God's reason.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Well, it
I
was
didn't
AJ
decide to knock it out of your hand.
They
AJ did.
What?
Anyway.
All right.
I was
cool.
just in the background kidnapping lizards with Billy.
All look complicit.
So, the rest of you kind of hanker down for the night. I presume you're basically waiting on the morning before you properly go into the village, right?
Yeah. How much time do we have?
Enough time to recast Mage Sense if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm literally just always asking that now, because good. I'll just roll that now then.
Odelle, do you have any spells you want to change out? Before
Not really.
tomorrow?
I mean, Anima doesn't really do much for fighting regardless.
Okay. Anyone else want to do anything?
Well,
Well,
I
you
can't.
You've got a few hours as long as you kind of stay in the windmill.
Okay, I got
Oh, okay, right.
sixes.
All right. So you straight up wanted to cast
Oh, and I
that.
accidentally got Die of Fate again. I pressed Die of Fate, but I got a 6, so...
It's already open-ended.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, what? No, I did Die of Fate by accident instead
Right.
of open-ended.
It's
Oh, wait,
already
shit,
open-ended.
Conjuration is already open-ended. Dumb.
Yes.
It's open-ended, but no, I did a Dice of Fate.
Okay, right. I
Goodness.
wasn't really expecting you to roll the dice immediately.
Oh, like, I thought it would just be like... Yeah, because when we
No,
wake
sorry.
up...
I thought you meant you were hanging it.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to hang it then cast it in the morning, so I would, like...
Right. So you
immediately
wake
do
up
it
early
anyway.
to cast it to have Mage Sense on in the
Oh, yeah.
morning. Okay. You should. Okay, you've technically not passed that then because you've got one modifier too high.
Have I?
Yeah.
Do I not
We
put
already
in,
talked about it. You can't full aura reading into the thing that lets you full aura
Oh,
reading.
you're right. Okay.
So you've technically failed that right now. Are you wanting to spend a fate to re-roll a failure? Okay, so do that. I'm not going to count your die of fate roll that you accidentally did. Okay, cool.
Unfortunately.
So
I
that's
failed
a
that.
failure.
That's a 5 for 5. Let's see what that is on my thing. That's a routine for me.
Yeah. So you can put a fate into conjuration. And now roll a die of fate for spell failure.
Could I summon a fucking spirit again or god? Let's see which one it is.
Wait, so how did he
Don't forget
fail?
to reduce your fate.
Oh, I will, don't worry.
He rolled one too many dice, so that's not technically
Ah.
a success. So he had to use a fate to roll.
Yeah,
it.
I forgot I couldn't put aura reading in it.
Yeah.
What spell are you casting?
The thing that lets him
Mage
put aura
Sense.
reading into his other spells, Mage Sense. So
Oh.
that's why he can't fork.
Mainly wanted to do it so the witch couldn't sneak up on us or something.
Mm.
But unfortunately, that is not the case.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got a 2. What does that mean? Nothing?
No, that means something bad.
Oh boy.
Let me check. Conjuration. On a 2. Mostly harmless dissipation. Alright, yeah. So it's on a 1 or a 6 that bad shit happens. Mostly harmless dissipation means you have to do a will-based tax test. So you now have to roll your will at the same obstacle.
5? Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
And any margin of failure gets temporarily subtracted from your will as tax.
Guessing I can't. No, it's a base stat. No forks here allowed, and I have no persona. So let's see how this fucking goes.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, your will gets taxed by
Oh.
4. You're on 1
Oh,
will now.
no.
If you
Fucking
cast
Christ.
another spell, you're
Well,
gonna get knocked unconscious.
Mark that difficult test. And then basically the way you mark this is for sustained spells, just put 4 as your sustained spells. It's functionally
Okay.
the same as tax. So your will is 1 right now. Which means
Great.
if you take a wound, you get knocked unconscious.
I have a question, Will.
Mhm.
How do I undo this?
You have to rest.
Okay. Can I lie in?
No. So you.
Well, I'm functionally useless.
Lucky. Unlucky.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Wait, can I
Um,
spend fate on base stats?
Oh yeah, you can. No wait, you don't have any 6s.
But I have. Oh wait, yeah, 'cause it's
Yeah.
an open end. I can't roll the. Oh, well.
Can you do anything? Let's think.
I don't think so.
Oh, actually, it might not be margin of failure because it's for challenging tests. It's definitely margin of failure, but for difficult tests, let me make sure I'm not screwing you over too hard here. Let's see. Or well, you're screwing yourself.
Fucking
over,
smash
but-
my head in, Will. No, I don't.
Tax.
I'm being nerfed by my own mistakes. Someone help me.
Yeah, This is the hubris of magic.
Yep.
Fuck, where is sorcery? Page 500. Tax. If he fails the test, yeah, it's margin of failure. Yeah, doesn't matter the difficulty. Yeah, that's where I was getting confused. Because for resource-based tax, it does depend on the difficulty, but for magic tax, no. Okay.
I'm a bit screwed.
Well, if you have to test will again in the next few hours, you'll at least probably most likely get a challenging will test.
Let's pass out.
And fucking keel over and die.
You're not gonna die. You're just gonna pass out.
So, what is this? So I guess people like wake up to, because you woke up early to get this done.
Yeah, so I woke up, brought a pail of water in, had a nice drink of death water, which may or may not have contributed to me fucking up mage sense so bad that for a split second my eyes flicker into the kind of like bluish glow that I'm used to. And like for a split second I can see everything right, and then it all suddenly goes fucking wonky. Like the fucking floors start folding in on themselves and my eyes flicker out of blue. And a large kind of bang happens. Emanating from my crown of my head. And everyone wakes up.
And yeah, this like intense migraine fills your head as like the spirit doesn't fully like actually no, what is it? Let me get the description right for what this even means. Yeah, okay, so what this means is like, I guess because you were casting this spell, you didn't even hang it, you just cast it straight, right?
Yeah.
So
I basically cast it straight away, yeah.
Yeah, so like, yeah, I guess this explanation doesn't quite make sense then. Yeah, probably what you said makes more sense. So, but yeah, you get a massive headache, and you get this like, I think it's actually like this is the effect of the spell. Like you cast the spell got distorted, or like you summoned the wrong creature, and like this is what it does. Have fun with this weird twisty upside down world that's giving you -4 to your will.
Like I tried to fucking summon Mage Sense.
Yeah.
Like for it, but I summoned one that is a more powerful version of Mage Sense than I'm used to, and it's just sent all of my sense.
Yeah. Instead of giving you second sight, it's trying to give you celestial sight, and your brain just can't handle it, or something like that. Yeah.
I just can't think properly.
Your puny mortal brain just can't.
And as soon as like it's like trying to give me that kind of fucking Inception bullshit, I just dissipate the spell and I'm left with this horrendous headache.
Yeah. Okay. How do people react to this?
Romienji stomps down from the second floor and goes, "What was that?"
You see Astor balled up on the floor, clutching his forehead.
I don't know where Odelle is at this point.
I assume she's on the first floor, right, with Astor?
I'm just like,
Somewhere
oh my
in there.
god, he just collapsed.
What happened? There was a loud bang. I could hear it from upstairs. I don't think the explosive went off, did it?
Oh god, he's dead.
That was me.
Oh, I clutch his head in my paws.
Edvard just pokes his head down the stairs and says, "If the explosive had gone off, you'd know about it."
Oh god, it's the second headache.
There's the humor point for this episode.
Oh god.
Take a fate for humor.
I'm gonna give other people a chance, apparently.
That was a good one.
I'll take it.
I think it's better to hand out the humor in the moment, because otherwise we forget about it.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I thought it might have been a good idea. Maybe use made a spell called Mage Sense to try and get the one up on the witch so I could see her if she's in. But it went a bit wrong. I don't know what the hell happened, but I could see a lot of weird shit for a while.
Can't you just try again?
Ugh.
Romienji says, not knowing how magic works.
It doesn't work like that, unfortunately.
You actually could, but it would take another 5 hours, and you'd risk
I'd risk
really
dying.
seriously injuring yourself. Yeah.
So no, I think it would legitimately just drop my will to
it
zero.
could it
right?
could kill
So
you.
I'd
Yeah,
go
if it
unconscious.
goes below 0, it can injure you. Yeah. Anyway.
Mhm. Do you think you're up to taking on the witch, or do you want to hang back? You look like you're in a lot of pain right now.
Yep, that is true. Astor just kind of looks down, trying to assess himself. Fortunately, I don't think I'm in much ways to fight. If I try and cast magic like this, it could go horribly wrong. A lot worse than me getting ahead. It could endanger other people.
Well, the plan that Edvard came up with didn't have much use for either of us, so I'll
I'm just gonna call down to Romienji and say, "Don't be too sure of that. I need someone to detonate this thing."
Oh boy, screaming. Just what I need. No,
how
you should...
exactly do you expect me to detonate it?
You have a bow, don't you? Can you shoot some fire?
I mean, I suppose if I...
Look,
Well,
you're the
technically
most
it's
accurate shot we have.
I would beg to differ, but looks at Odelle. Uh,
Which of you has the better skill in ranged weaponry? I can't remember.
I think we have the
See,
same.
see Odelle just kind of raise a paw. Definitely me.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Odelle's the
Odelle
best
got
Well,
shot out of any of us.
Odelle,
Well,
Odelle
yes,
got
but
an
the-
accidental buff last session, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, but don't forget, Odelle, you're gonna be luring villagers away, so you don't exactly have time to shoot things as well.
Oh, you're right. Well, I pat Romienji's like elbow. It's all on you now.
No pressure or anything. Well, Astor, did you want to wait by the boat or wait here potentially? But
I kind
There's
of just
something
want to
to say
hide
that
from everything right now. I'm
there's
gonna be
nothing to
honest.
say that he won't be, that he will be safe in the boat if they ever decide to come down. Or if the witch herself gets away from us and decides to attack our only method of transportation. It would be better if Astor stuck around with whoever is going to be setting off the bomb. You don't necessarily have to rely on magic to get what you need done.
Yeah, as a point, Astor, you're not technically injured. So
Oh, I
you're
know.
like nothing
It's
else
just,
is
this
affected
is like a
by
migraine, so I'm
this.
treating
Yeah,
it
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
I think once it passes, you will be okay unless you take more damage, basically. So
Yeah, like
it's not like you've got a +4 ob to everything or anything like that.
I mean, I can come in maybe, I don't know, moral support. I can hit her with my stick. That's about as much as I'm capable of without magic. And if you need me there, I'll gladly go. But I'm just telling you my limitations currently.
I think Odell's right. We better keep an eye on you just in case something happens and we're not there.
That's probably a good idea. So are we off to see the witch now?
The wonderful witch of Polnagon.
The swamp.
Just
We're off to
because
see
it
the
doesn't
witch
just
war,
work.
the wonderful witch of the swamp.
Yeah. I'll go see if Edvard has the bombs ready. And he trunks is back upstairs.
Mhm. Hang on, I'm just checking what
You find Edvard neatly tying a red ribbon around the top of the bomb. And it's going, a perfect little present for someone I plan to have destroyed.
Right.
Guys, I
This
think,
number
I think
sounds like
Edvard's
different
the madman here, guys.
Takes after his uncle.
We don't even know about his uncle.
Yeah.
I've
I'm just
told you
saying, out of
briefly
character.
about him.
Yeah, I'm just saying out of character.
Yeah.
Takes after his uncle. Anyway.
What were you gonna say, Jen?
I don't remember.
Oh.
I was gonna say to you, Astor, or I guess Seraaron, you still have 3 spells hung with +2 dice attached to them. So if you can still cast spells, you'll be rolling 8 dice against Ob 3 for all of them. It's a good chance
yeah,
of success, but failure on those would mean absolute failure on those would mean disaster. So it's
Yeah,
kind of
but
how
unfortunately I can't
risky
actually
you
cast
feel.
any of them because they're all sustains.
Oh shit, they are.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm literally fucking useless. If I pass the spell, I'm done for. The best I could hope for is I cast Lay Rift, which basically debuffs the witch and keel.
Choking hand isn't sustained technically.
Is it not?
No, it's until broken. It counts as like a weird special ranged lock.
Choking hand. Oh shit, you're right. I could technically cast
Yeah,
that.
but it's will versus power, so you'd be rolling one
no.
dice. Yeah.
So no, I wouldn't have 1 dice. I would have 3, because it's +2.
No, that's +2 to cast the spell.
Oh wait, yeah.
And
the
then
test is completely
it's
different.
will +1 die for every 3 successes over the ob. So you could get lucky and
Does this witch have really bad will? I don't think she would, consider she can cast fucking like Dream Step or whatever.
yeah. Well, no, it's your will versus their power. It's like a force choke, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, she's probably pretty physically strong as well.
Yeah.
Well,
actually, no. I should say, like, in case, because it's been a short while, but it's been a while out of game, but it's not been that long for you guys in game. The witch, when you last saw her, she was this she's a warg woman, but she looked old and she was hobbling, if you remember. And she looked
but there was also the vivid description of her apparently going fucking feral and running after us, so I'm not taking any chance.
Yeah, well, I mean, all wargs can do that, but yeah. But yeah, she's not like... Well, yeah, I'm not going to say anything else, but she's not like...
She's not like Power 7 or some bullshit.
Yeah.
She's moderately old. Like, she'll take a penalty from being old, presumably.
Yeah.
The elderly tax.
The elderly tax. That's ageist.
The ancient text.
The ancient text. My ancient text. God, I hope she has some ancient text for me to steal.
They're written all in wolf. It's a bunch of pop prints.
I know foreign languages. It's fine.
Okay. So you, like, presumably, you head to the village.
Mm-hmm.
We're off to see
Indeed.
the witch, the wonderful witch of the swamp.
Time to set up a
Let's
trap.
see, how are we doing on time?
Almost
about-
at 6.
An hour left, maybe less. So, and that includes Arta, so we'll say 40 minutes.
Okay.
Alright,
Oops, I just exited out of Roll20 on accident.
rip.
Kelu, no!
It's fine.
The
I
witch
was
has
trying to X out of
claimed
my YouTube.
first
It
monument.
just shows this one instead. Fine.
Alright, so I found this map, which roughly fits, I feel. So I'll use it. We can use it for reference should we need to.
Okay.
And I think I'll say, yeah, as a point of reference, just imagine that like the water is kind of everywhere. There's like deeper sections where the old part of the stream was, but everything's flooded. So actually, maybe I'll let's see. Can I? How can I do this? There we go. Okay, no, that doesn't really look good. I was trying to tint it blue so that it would look like flooded, but it doesn't really. Whatever. I get so where the like river is just where it's deeper, but it's like knee deep everywhere really. If that makes sense.
What does that mean for Odelle? Is she drowning?
No.
Odelle, no!
No.
We've come full circle.
You just hear this tiny rat scream.
well, yeah, I mean, if Odelle goes in the stream, then she might need to swim. But if you're just walking through the low patch or the higher patches, I guess, then it's difficult terrain basically.
Odelle, don't worry, hang on to me. I'm a sweaty ape. God made me for this. Swims across.
So we'll say, for a point of reference, that this building right at the bottom down here is the one that you guys got close to last time you were here. The one that you got close enough to see the sort of scale on the sort of what's it called? Lichen scale. So yeah, unless you guys split the party, there's probably not much point in having like individual tokens. There may not even be much point in having tokens anyway, like at all. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not really sure how I want to run this yet. So blub blub blub. Odelle drowns. End of campaign, guys.
Dang it.
This is always how I knew it would fucking end.
Unfortunately, the stream can't see that because it's like off to the side. Oh well.
Why are you closing your doors to the public? Well,
Because
no.
help.
Help. My acers will help me.
Yeah, so the town is. I keep saying town as well. Sorry about the confusion. The village. Yeah, as you can see, it is really just a handful of buildings and some larger buildings and farms and a few trees and stuff. All of the buildings are made of, well, pretty much all the buildings are made of wood, yeah, there's a broken bridge, and there's some larger buildings, which would have been probably the village, like elder's house, and maybe some other things, maybe a little temple, maybe something like that. I don't want to use this map like as the 100% everything that's in the village, but it's a good approximation, I think.
Well, can I pick up that small pebble in the left-hand corner?
Yeah, that's what I mean by I don't want to use the... It is like 100% point of reference. So just a vague idea of what this place is looking like. And unless you guys want to come in from a different angle, we'll say that you come back to this building that you first approached last time. We'll say that there's a destroyed cart there, and there's this damaged building covered with this scale. And you guys begin to hear, as you come back into this range now, you begin to hear, it's still raining, there is this actually, would it be? No, I think this time you don't hear any kind of wailing or screaming or anything like that. But you do... There is an awareness of, like, a presence in this place. And with the dark rain clouds above you now, you're pretty much at the epicenter of this unnatural storm. You do begin to see, as you approach... like these staggering figures begin to move about between the buildings, and some of them have like glowing, or almost look like they're glowing green, like highly reflective eyes, looking feral and twisted.
Are we all seeing this?
Yeah, I'm saying this is what I'm describing as you're approaching, right?
Okay. Does it look like the growths have gotten worse?
What do you mean?
Well, you said they were like covered in lichen and shit last time.
Yeah, it's hard to tell through the haze. I think, they seem to be moving in a similar way to what you saw last time. Very kind of sort of staggered. It's like staggered movement with like. I mean, their movement almost seems random, but like random nudging in a particular direction. So it's like stagger, 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 and then like they'll like drop to all fours and move really fast for like half a second, and then they'll stagger again, and then they'll, I don't know, turn around and stagger back the other way a bit, and then run in the other direction again. It's like very, very unnatural movement, and from the distance that you're at right now, none of them can notice you, or none of them have, as far as you're aware, none of them have noticed you yet. But a good question that I probably should have asked sooner was, is anyone using a lantern?
How dark
I
is
can
it?
see in the dark, so I don't need to.
Good for you. There are some humans here.
So I think that between the dark of the night, of the cloud cover, and the haze from the rain, it's a +2 ob to vision related things. For Odelle and Romienji, that's only +1 ob, because they're only affected by the haze.
I mean, I mostly presumably have candles that I've used before.
Yeah.
I don't think I would be using a light in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say this, right? Much like their eyes seem to be glowing, It does say here, anyone looking will see glowing green orbs staring back.
Yes, yes. So I guess
So-
Odelle has that as well. But there's more empathy in Odelle's eyes than in these in the eyes beyond.
So can we go in?
Yeah, I mean, I've just described your approach. So what's your
Oh,
plan?
okay.
What's your I mean, I think you've had enough time to plan. What are you guys doing?
I presume we're gonna try and find the witch.
Well, first we need to set up a trap. Because if we just go in guns blazing and try and find the witch while I'm still holding a very volatile bomb,
Okay, so what's your plan?
that's not gonna go. Oh, I was saying all of that out of character.
Oh, okay. I was saying mine in character. I know it's confusing because my voice is basically the fucking same voice. Anyway, in character, I asked you what's your plan.
Well, first, we need to set up a trap. Because if we go in there and I'm still holding this, it's not liable to end well for, well, practically anyone. So if you guys can help me find a relatively dry, and I say relatively with loose terms, piece of ground, I can put this down.
Some
And
of
we
these
can
buildings
set-
still have roofs on.
I kind of just look around and gesture to the flooded fucking plainlands that we're on with soggy, mudded areas, and the fact that the only probable
This is
place
why I
where
stuck
dry
this
land,
thing in a bucket.
Yeah.
the only probable
Like,
place where
it's
dry
in a
land is in one of these buildings. So how are we gonna get into one without being noticed by the zombies?
Well, we don't need specifically dry land. We just need something that isn't a foot deep in water, essentially.
Well, I slam my foot down into the squelching mud. We're on it. What's your plan?
Okay. I'm gonna put this bomb down. Then, I'm going to walk into that village with Odelle. Odelle is going to attract every single zombie person, villager thing that's in there. And I am going to attract the attention of the witch, if I can find her. Now, you, Romienji, I need you stationed somewhere fairly far away from this thing, within sight range, because when I come screaming past, the witch will probably be following me. So you're gonna have to shoot an arrow at this bomb, preferably lit on fire, because otherwise it won't do anything. And then we're gonna blow her to Kingdom Come. One thing that I will say, I don't have any means of defending myself against this witch because she is apparently an ethereal being. So I'm gonna be running very fast. And she's probably gonna be running equally as fast. So you need to be quick on the draw.
To do
To blow this thing up!
which we
Also,
do
you,
by...
Astor, need to go hide somewhere because
What
in
do
your
we
current
do
state,
if she chases after you, but not here? What if she chases after you as that blurred last time?
well, in that case, I'll just have to keep an eye out and be extra quick. And I'll come running by screaming, and I'm sure that'll be enough for Romienji to know when to
Why am I
shoot
not
the bomb.
surprised most of your plan consists of winging it?
This isn't winging it. This is
This
well
is
thought out.
absolutely winging it.
I should probably say, because Romienji would probably know or realize that, like, none of you have fire arrows or fire bolts.
Hmm.
So someone's gonna instead of shooting it with a firebolt, someone's gonna have to light the fuse and run away, more likely.
Oh, shall I just do that on the way past?
You could do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna mention, obviously. I don't have something that can be lit on fire. I mean, he pulls out a candle. Well, I have this, but it's not exactly aerodynamic, and will more than likely miss the target if I try and shoot it out of my crossbow.
I look at
That's-
Astor. I'm like, how likely do you think you might actually be able to do? I mean, all spells known as like by the same name. If I say, how can you perform a Sergeant Glare, you're gonna know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yes, I think you can.
You kind of explained it before as like this is a subset that everyone knows of, and then only
Yeah,
like
the
obscure
the standard
spells or-
spell effects. I guess the way you could ask it in game that kind of makes thematic sense is you could be like, Astor, do you know the spell that I've been cast, that you've seen me cast a couple times? I know it as Sarcher's Glare. You might know it as something different, right?
Do you know any
Yeah.
paralyzers? Like the one I used against her
I-
before.
I know the one you used before. I'm just if it
It's
goes
possible.
wrong again, it could kill me.
I don't think it'll kill you. Not immediately, anyway. You're more likely to just fall on the ground and be easy prey for her.
Oh, so it won't kill me now. It will kill me later, is what you're saying.
Indirectly. But it could be a last chance if things go wrong.
As a last resort, I could attempt to do it, but I would only be able to freeze her for a split second before falling unconscious, probably.
If it doesn't work. But if it does,
I don't feel like I have enough power to sustain that.
You also don't have it hung.
Yeah, I know.
do you not?
No.
So it's just my hung.
Oh my god.
You have it hung though, don't you, Jen?
Yeah.
I do, but I'm the fastest. I'm gonna be the one chasing people away.
Like, to be honest, at best, what I could do is if she tries to chase after people while in the dreamscape, I could cast Lay Rift and try and interrupt it. But I would immediately fall unconscious. Or as a last resort, I could try Choking Hand. Because I don't need to sustain that.
Hmm.
But it would be versus her power.
Yeah.
We don't know how much her power is. I mean, it could be something seriously weak.
It could be. That's what I'm saying.
She could
like,
just have like a super
last
high
resort.
perception for magic.
To be fair, you could earn a deeds point for nearly dying because you're helping people no matter what the cost.
You know what? I could, but like, I don't want to fucking die if I fail the spell anyway, and then I get another will minus somehow. Because knowing
Yeah.
my luck, that's exactly what will happen.
It's fair. It's fair.
Like, they're ob 3s, so I'm not incredibly terrified at that happening, but it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna be right back real quick. You guys keep discussing what your plan is, and when I get back, we can start putting things into motion.
It will.
I'm being right back.
We have
Bye.
like no, that.
It's me or being.
I wanted to
Can't
say,
ask.
can we take a 15-minute break because I need to go downstairs and eat dinner.
Well, no, because we're ending soon.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was like. Oh, now if he's going away, can I just quickly go downstairs and stuff my face full of food so my parents don't yell at
No.
me? No, okay.
Anyway,
I guess we're just
I
like
feel,
having the plan for the witch and then ending then.
I feel like, since I won't be of much help, that I should, because I don't have something that can do a long distance, thing to ignite the bomb.
Don't, but you're also like super useful at defending against the witch if stuff goes wrong because
Yeah.
of your dagger.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, maybe I should go over the bomb instead.
I'm
Maybe.
faster.
You are faster, but you don't have
But
anything to defend yourself
if you get
with.
caught, if you fail that roll, then you're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
I can still defend myself. I have a shiv and a bow.
You do have
Yeah,
a
but
shiv, but you don't have the knife skill or the bow's skill.
I'm
so-
learning the knife skill. Like,
yeah.
I
you're
can
learning
defend
it.
myself if necessary, but also, I am the fastest out of the entire group.
Well, you're tied
And
with
the
Odelle.
witch lady is pretty damn fast. Like, we've seen her. She's
Well,
Yeah.
we've
quick.
seen her go into feral mode and chase after people, but she never did catch
Feral.
up with us.
Yeah.
No, she did. She did catch up.
The
I'm
whole
just
fucking,
thinking
like,
that
episode is just days for me, so I have no idea what really went on.
I'm just thinking
Okay,
that
I'm back.
I'm thinking that Edvard should lead the townspeople away, right? Since you're fastest. And I'm thinking that Odelle should like be on a roof or something so she can cast Sarch's Glare while Romienji runs from the witch towards the bomb.
Well, who's taking away the zombies then?
That's Edvard. Because he's
Okay.
fast.
Yeah,
And he
'cause
can probably
Odelle-
outrun a bunch of zombies.
So presumably the plan is we get the witch to chase us while one of us has the bomb. Then Odelle uses Sarch's Glare on the witch. We detonate the bomb on the witch.
No one picks up the bomb.
The bomb
Once
is
the
going to
bomb
be
is
trapped.
put down,
Okay.
it stays there. Because if someone detonates the bomb while they're holding it, they are dead.
Yeah.
Literally.
No,
So you
like,
wanna let me?
really
So you wanna like Sarcher's Glare the witch right next to the bomb, then
Yeah.
hold her there while you light the bomb and run away.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
that
that's
could work.
that's
But
what
it
I was
relies
thinking.
on. It relies on Sarcher's Glare succeeding
Does
and getting the witch in the right place at the right time.
I mean, your plan also requires the witch in the right place at the right time and the bomb going off. Either
Yeah.
way.
Either way, it's the same thing. But Sarch's Glare would give us a better.
But it would give us a better advantage, but it also adds an extra variant.
Well, you could have a backup
I mean,
plan
not
as well.
You could have a backup plan.
Yeah,
Backup plan, I
like-
decapitate her with my knife.
that isn't one of the things
That's
that's
true.
happened to her yet.
Yeah, that's
So-
what I was thinking at the back of my.
No, actually, yeah.
I
Well,
guess.
how specific can we get with this? Can you just like fucking?
We don't know. That's the
gut her?
thing.
No
We
idea.
literally have no clue how this works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's the fun part.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's experiment killing her over and over again.
Yeah,
Time for the evil route, guys.
yeah. Anyway, that's one of the things that I had wondered about is if decapitation would work, but I didn't think about bringing it up.
I mean, technically, if we start to glare her and manage to get her away from the zombies, right, we can just literally dig a hole and just plop her in it.
Well, I have a question about a possibility.
Decapitate
I could
her,
do.
dig a hole, plop her in it, put some ground over it, and that's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like we should try the bomb way first, though,
Yeah.
All right. Go
Oh,
ahead,
well.
Seraaron.
just because we already have it.
If I
Seraaron?
use layer rift, the flavor text for it says it opens up a rift to where was it? The ethereal thing
Right,
or the dreamscape. The spell that she's using also is essentially warping reality, right?
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah, she's in like the dreamscape, which is kind of like the ethereal veil, so it's another kind of side dimension.
No one's really sure. Like, I mean, like I use a lot of intentionally ambiguous
Vague,
language.
yeah.
to-
What would
to
happen
refer
if
to
I
these
opened up a
things, so,
veil inside her spell?
mm.
Fantastic. I'm gonna do it. Last resort, that's what I'm fucking doing, because I think the best case scenario is she gets trapped in the dreamscape. Or just killed instantly. Either one.
Yeah. I
Worst
don't know.
case scenario is she grabs me, I get pulled in, and we both get trapped in the dreamscape.
Yeah, time to roll up a new character. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still there. Maybe I can escape somehow.
You're unplayable and you're dead.
Mhm, mhm.
We make up in the dream state,
Okay.
we become lovers and find a way out.
Yeah.
Have fun with your bestiality fetish, gross asshole.
What's a furry fetish? How dare you? Anyway.
Okay, yeah. So, let's sort of. Yeah, actually, let's use the tokens. Let's get a rough idea of where people go and what they do.
We're not gonna need tokens, guys.
We might not need them, but just kind of like if you wanna move them.
Ah, how could you do
Let's-
this? I was drowning in a river.
Well,
Let's just fix this immediately. There we go.
How rude.
It's realistic.
Goodness.
don't get too distracted by the tokens, but just so that I have an idea of sort of how you're setting this up.
Right.
Yeah.
So, assumedly the bomb would be planted somewhere around here-ish or here-ish.
I mean, it really depends on where exactly the wolf witch is. We have no idea where she is. We have no idea where she
Well,
is.
we'd have to lead her to it anyway, but I'm just thinking like there's lots of cover here, like from roofs and like all these buildings that are surrounding this area. So you'd be able to Sarch's glare her pretty well,
What
depending
I will say is we don't want to put the bomb in the middle of the town
Mm.
because there might be townspeople that wander in who haven't joined the chase. Like, this is why I wanted to put the bomb on the outskirts of the town, because like that we can lead the townspeople out one way, whereas leading the witch the other way.
Right. So maybe over here or something.
Actually, that's the way I was planning to lead the townspeople out, but
Okay. Well,
I was thinking
either way.
more like over here,
Mm,
like in this
Okay.
sort of area.
So here.
The gravedigger's
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah, so
Alright.
we put the bomb there and then can have someone on this roof or this roof to do Sarge's glare because Odelle has the climbing skill and can get up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lucian assumedly will use Edvard to go from house to house grabbing all the townspeople while he's running this away.
Okay. So do you all move in that direction together, or are you splitting up, or?
I guess Odelle will need to go here or here,
Mhm.
depending on where we're putting the bomb, so that she's not super close by.
I mean, if we're putting the bomb here at the crossroads,
Yeah,
then Odelle would be best placed up here
yeah,
because we'll be leading the witch out from over here, so she'll be most likely facing this direction.
right. Okay, so Odelle would have to be up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would go with Edvard, and then we would cross, like probably split ways around here.
Sorry, I just realised I can move the map into full screen on the stream.
Oh,
Should
okay.
have done that sooner. There we go. Now we can all.
So I'm just gonna move my token up here so that you can see better. So we would split ways around this area here, and Edvard would continue this way, whereas I would head back.
Yeah.
And you want to put the bomb somewhere around here,
Like that crossroads area.
right?
And Odelle would be here, Astor.
Okay. I think in that case then. Ah, damn it, Xerion.
He had to go for dinner. Dinner
Well,
time.
I guess he's not doing much right now anyway. God, if he dies off screen.
That would be hilarious.
Oh my god.
I mean,
Um,
how long is he gonna take to go eat dinner?
I don't know.
Dunno.
I mean,
Lulu,
I'll
how
need
long
to
does it
wind
take to eat dinner?
It'll be about 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, I'll need to wind down the
We could just-
session and see.
We can just wait. We set
Well,
up.
Yeah, I'll need to wind the session down.
Or we could just leave it on a
shortly.
cliffhanger.
Yeah, well, what I was thinking of
Cliffhanger.
doing, like, what I was thinking is that's why I was like, God damn it, Xerion, because I was like, I can probably set this up nicely for a cliffhanger, but if he's just gone now, then it won't have the same impact.
It's his fault. Do it anyway.
What am I looking for? Oh yeah. Okay. Right. So what I think I'll say is loudest and slowest among Odelle, Astor, and Edvard make a stealthy test, and then Romienji make an independent stealthy test.
Okay.
Why am I doing a stealthy test with Astor and...
Well, because you're helping to set up the bomb, presumably before you are getting ready to make a lot of noise, right?
Well, I'm setting up the bomb. Astor and Odelle are going over here. So, that is technically an independent action. So.
I mean, it would just separate us into 3 groups. If like you would still have to take a test, but then out of us 2, the loudest and slowest would have to take a test there.
I have an advantage on stealth, though.
I mean, that's fine. We would still be split into 3 groups. I mean, if you're fine with that, we can go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not sure if my ghillie cloak would work for all 3 of us.
Actually, hang on. No, it wouldn't. So probably, actually, what makes more sense is to just, keep counting you as the whole group. Because kind of what's happening here is, like, are you all collectively able to remain stealthy long enough to set this up, right? So, the assumption with loudest and slowest is that the loudest and slowest is most likely to be the one that trips everything up, right? So you can help, but the loudest and slowest is the one that leads. So who doesn't have stealthy?
Me. I have it being learned.
I'll check.
We all have it being learned.
Oh, you're all learning it. Okay, then it's the one with the lowest speed, which I think is Astor
That would be
or
Astor.
Romienji.
It was one of the...
Oh no, Romienji leveled up his speed last session, yeah.
Yes, it'd be
So
Astor.
So it's Astor. Oh boy.
Our unlucky fellow.
Yeah. Okay. So the rest of you can help with
But
your...
the ghillie cloak wouldn't provide a +1 dice to the...
Unless you... Yeah, no, I don't think... Because
You can let him
you're...
wear it.
Unless you give it to Astor.
No, I'm not giving it to Astor.
Then it's not going to help. You can help with your speed, though. Or your stealthy.
I mean, we're all going to help with our speeds.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll roll for him. So that's... Who has a speed of 5 and up?
I do.
Okay.
And Odelle does.
Odelle have as well?
What?
I think so.
Speed 5 plus?
Yes.
Okay, so 5 bonus.
So
dice.
that's 5 bonus.
And it'll be a versus test. So I'll roll this one now. They don't have observation, so it'll basically just be a flat versus test. Okay, their base perception is 5.
No, 3 6s.
Plus, I'm gonna say the townsfolk is collectively providing 5 helping dice.
Will, can we explode those?
Oh yeah,
can
yeah.
we
Hang
roll
on.
those
Let me
3
roll.
6s?
Let me roll my dice first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oof. Okay. So
let's quickly
I'm
roll this.
sure Xerion would be fine with us spending his fate.
Yes, I'm sure he would.
He has a lot. He's
He
an
has
excess.
an excess of fate. Yeah, so that's how many sixes is it? 3 sixes.
3.
3.
So open dice 3. Ooh.
Mm.
Okay, hang on.
So
just.
So it's a tie.
It's a tie.
It is a tie.
Ties normally go to the defender, but I'm not sure who the defender is in this instance.
I mean, we're not the attackers. They're the ones trying to sniff us out.
Yeah.
So we'd technically be the defenders in this.
I guess so. Yeah. Okay. So you managed to kind of keep out of sight.
Do
I
we add
I think
a
actually
point
what
to our
happens.
stealthy.
Let's see. That would have been an ob 2. So yeah, no one marks a stealthy test. Well, actually no. Yeah, no one gets to mark a speed test, but Astor gets to mark a being learned on stealthy.
Only Astor? No one else?
Yeah. Because you're helping with the stat, not with the
Yes.
skill.
Mhm.
Oh, right.
I think I've messed that rule up in the past, but I checked it last week. And yeah, you're helping with the stat, so you're not marking towards beginner's luck on the skill.
Right. That's fair.
We choose how we help. So.
Yeah, there's a couple rules that I have mucked up, but I'm trying to hone in on them and get them right for future reference. Anyway, okay, so we didn't really discuss the intent on that, but I think it's kind of obvious. Like, this lets you set up this trap, basically, and the kind of I think what's interesting, or what you note among the four of you as you're trying to move through the gloomy village, is like these, as you get closer to these like creeping zombie like Skaven folk, like they're not reacting like living creatures in a way to your presence. Like, there's a few times when they look straight at you and you think the gig is up, and then they just keep walking. It's like they can't even properly sense you. And so there's a few times, I think, in like classic horror movie style, where kind of you're ducking between walls and ducking under tables, or like around bushes and stuff, and these things are sniffing around and staggering around, and like there's times when like if this was like a movie, then there'd be like a jump scare or something, but then it would be fine, because actually it's just like one of these things turns the corner and you're looking straight at it, and then it just like looks through you and just like keeps walking, and you're able to get a few closer looks at the townsfolk now, and yeah, like to all of your eyes, even though you feel like there's something illusory, something from your experiences the last time you came here, it felt like there was something illusory about the state of disrepair in this place. You cannot currently shake that illusion right now, and the people here, for all benefit of doubt that you might have given them up till now, like, they just don't seem to be alive anymore. They seem to be behaving so strangely. Not even like zombies. Like, the zombies that you've dealt with up till now have been very kind of, well, they've not been like this. This seems like almost mad, erratic behavior in a way. Moving through the gloomy village, it's like there's these occasional wailings and these occasional like screeches as these poor townsfolk are like crazed animals or something, and they're just like scratching at the floor and staggering around and all that. So Romienji starts moving forwards, sort of through the muck. Up towards the more towards the middle of the town, and Edvard helps out with setting up the bomb. So what's everyone? What's the next move in this plan?
Well, if you've got the bombs,
I'm back. Who died?
No one.
No one yet.
We spent a fate for you. You were the lowest and the loudest, but you managed to avoid detection from the Skaven.
That's fine. Also, I just realized why you shouldn't give the point out for fate for humor because of that. It's technically unfair.
What do you mean?
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Because, like, you could earn a fate during the campaign. And
Oh,
just, like,
yeah,
spend
yeah,
that
but
in
I
that
think,
same
I don't
session.
know. I've played other RPGs where they give it out immediately. I think it's a better way of remembering it. And it's just a fate, so yeah.
Did I die yet?
No.
Not yet.
What's your next move? So you've set up the bomb, and Romienji's managed to stealth into the middle of town.
So am I here or am I here? Because I want to be here.
Yeah, you can be basically with the
You can be anywhere.
with
This
the
is just a
successful
general
stealthy test.
approximation.
You can be wherever you need to be.
I need to be with Romienji as well,
Okay.
Will.
Yeah, okay,
Because
go
I'm
ahead
not
and-
just setting up the bomb.
Right. Yeah. So go ahead.
I'm
and
a
move
runner
on.
as well in this situation.
Yeah. So the stealthy test rides for now. So you can just move yourself wherever you need to be to get your plan to work as intended.
I would, but every time I try and move my token, it scrolls my screen around, which is really freaking weird.
You might be. Actually, I have no
There
idea.
you go. I moved you. I moved you.
Thank you.
Suffering from token character disease. It's uncurable.
All right, so yeah, so the plan was you're gonna like lure the townsfolk away in one direction and lure the witch in another direction, right?
Yes,
Mhm,
the witch
mhm.
towards the bomb, the townsfolk, the other.
Okay.
Oh shit. Kelu,
Yes.
this coincides with your instinct. You can't keep an eye on me for this.
I know. I'm so upset, but it's fine. I will trust you for this time.
Uh-huh.
Trust it.
Yeah, Edvard just leaves.
Can't believe it.
No. Okay, so
Totally didn't expect that.
let's. I guess this would be. What would this be? I guess this would be a conspicuous test now. Now that you're in position.
This is bad for me because
You
I've
wanna
got the
get-
inconspicuous skill.
Yeah, yeah, the opposite of inconspicuous. You want to get everyone's attention, and you want to get them to all go in one direction, whilst something else happens in another direction. So,
Is there a very big bell anyway?
We ring that after we kill the witch.
There's probably. Oh, fuck you, Xerion. There might be a bell somewhere, like in the temple, in like Ace's temple or something. There might be a little, like some ritual bells. But I think that's probably moving against the plan that you've tried to set up so far. If you then try and move to a different place now. Let's say. Yeah, okay, so I was about to say let's make two separate conspicuous tests, but really the important part right now is conspicuous test to get the attention of the townsfolk, which will, if that's successful, you'll probably, like, as a byproduct of that, get the attention of the witch, right? So yeah, let's say one conspicuous test. Edvard and Romienji can help each other on it if they want to.
I mean, neither of us have conspicuous, though.
Yeah. So beginner's luck rules as before. One of you leads the test.
Lovely.
The other can assist with a
What
stat.
is conspicuous based on?
I think it's just will. Let me check. Yeah, just will. So in this case, loudest,
Okay.
it would be the loudest that tests. So which of you two has the highest will?
I've got a 5.
I have 4, so it would be
It
Edvard.
would be me.
Okay. So Edvard, you can start learning conspicuous, and you can get a helping dice from Romienji as well.
Nice.
And let's see, you're trying to draw attention to yourself. Okay, Ob 1 is a crowded room, Ob 2 is a busy shop. I'll say Ob 2.
Ob 2, so up to Ob 4. Okay.
And
Is
I
there
think-
anything? Is there anything lying around that's like big and metal?
Trash can.
Not really.
Like
There's not
anything
a
that would
lot
help
of
me
metal
make
in
noise,
this area.
essentially.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be metal, but like anything that I could just bash together to make noise.
Yeah. I mean, like, so I guess there's like tables inside the building that you're next to or something. There's like a table, so you could like smack your hands on the table, beat the table like a drum or something. That might help.
Bongo.
Mug.
What I mean is, if I use a particular object in the area, can I get a helping dice?
Yeah. What you're doing is you're petitioning for advantage, and I'm giving you a bit of a helping hand, which I maybe shouldn't do. But yeah,
They're new, they need it.
this is something that anyone can do, and I'm actually kind of glad that Lucian's picked up on it. Like, you can always jockey for an advantage from something, if you think of like good ideas.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I think success and failure here are gonna be like pretty obvious. Success is you know the plan continues to work as intended, and you manage to
Failure
chase
is the crowd just moves around you and doesn't care.
No, because that's the boring failure. So the success is, yeah, you manage to lead the townsfolk out of the village, and the witch chases the other one, whoever it is. The failure is the attention of the townsfolk is not caught. They all just keep meandering about as they are right now. But the attention of the witch is caught. So, yeah.
The plan can still work out.
The plan can still work
just a
out, but
bit.
there might be
There might be casual.
Yeah.
Or I could just decapitate her.
Yeah, or you can
Okay,
change
so
to plan
have-
B or whatever, yeah.
I have one modifier from Romienji.
Uh-huh.
Can I get another one from environmental sound that I can make with rattling tables and smashing chairs and stuff?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
you'll have to think of it next time, but I'll give it to you this time. Yeah.
Okay. No, Arthur. Base obstacle is 2. Oh, no, not 22. That's not what I want.
Obstacle 44. Can you imagine that?
Oh.
Right.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, no sixes.
1-1, but everything else in twos. Twos
Yeah.
and threes.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
how it goes sometimes.
All right. So yeah, I think.
7
Mark
dice.
a test in
Holy shit.
conspicuous.
So you and mark a test towards learning inconspicuous. I guess that would be a routine will test for Romienji, so he doesn't get anything out of that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you start making lots of noise and like start yelling like. I don't know. What do you
Obscenities.
yell?
Ding dong, the witch is gonna burn!
Okay. And
Ring, the witch's death I bring.
yeah, I think from this shrine, on a stone plinth up here,
From the shrine of Asa
yes,
rises the witch.
out steps, Gruta de Hilda, the
I'm sorry, her
Gruta-
name is Gruta de Hilda?
Gruta de Hilda, the
Groot
Witch
the
of
Hill.
Polnagold.
You've literally called her Groot the Hill.
No.
You are.
Gruta de Hilda. It's like the name of the boss shows up on screen, you know.
Yeah, health bar. It's much larger than you anticipated.
Goodness.
Bitch has 3 health bars because she can die more than once. This is a Dark Souls boss.
Bitch used to have 8.
We took care of that with some stabbings.
No, man. I know it makes no sense to tell you the name of the boss, but I just like. I love it in video games
The
and
name
media
Gruta de
where the
Hilda.
name. No. I just love it in media where like the name of someone appears like on screen. You see it in like old gangster films and stuff. It's like someone steps out of a car and it's like bam, and you see their name and it's like boom, and you're like cool. So that's like this. Yeah. And I found a sort of picture of her.
I
Oh,
like
that's
how
big.
her last name literally means of battle.
Oh, she looks gruesome and terrifying.
Yeah, she's twisted and loathsome. And yeah, she like hobbles. She like you see her like put this clawed hand on the roof of the shrine as she like comes out from under the roof of the shrine and like looks down at you. What does she say? Yeah, I think she looks down at you and laughs, and calls out, and says, yeah, like calls out, like splays her arms out, whilst laughing as she comes out of the shrine, and then she calls out to the whole village and says, "My darling citizens, the meat has returned. Let us feast."
Oh, good.
While she's saying this, I'm just gonna say, Romienji, do you think you could shoot her from here?
Now we shall utter the ancient chant. 1 Maka, 2 Maka, 3 Macarena.
And she and then she howls like a wolf. And when she howls like a wolf, the attention of all of the village folk turns towards you. And that's where we'll leave the session.
Dun 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 dun.
Dun dun dun.
So yeah, Thanks for playing. Let's enter Marta.
Okay.
Astor.
Me? Let me see if I actually did anything. I think definitely Edvard. The belief for not trusting him. Because I constantly questioned his plan.
Yeah.
And
Yet
also
we went
his...
ahead with it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Fate.
What happened to Polling Golem? I guess I was kind of over-eager for Polling Golem.
You were a bit, yeah. You rolled pretty much without even telling me you were about to roll, which you should never do.
Well, yeah.
But
Also, I kind of wanted people to kill her on the night
yeah.
when we got there instantly instead of like
Yeah,
waiting.
You could have pushed for that, but I guess you. Yeah, I mean, actually, I'm tempted to say no Fate for Belief 2, actually, because to really get Fate for that, you should have pushed for, like, no, we're going in there now. We're dealing with this right away. Your stupid bomb idea is stupid, right? Yeah. I need to get you guys to like, push these beliefs a bit
Can
harder
I get
without
Fate for
rewarding them.
Instinct for always being made sense, because it brought me trouble?
Yes! Yeah, you can get a Fate for that.
Let's see, was there anything else? I guess no, always in the way doesn't really work here. Well, I guess for the goal of killing the witch.
If
But that's
you
kind of
like...
double dipping for Instinct 3.
Yeah, remember that traits and instincts are... Remember that instincts are like proto-traits, so...
Yeah.
Like, you... You could get a Fate for always in the way next session if you just stood next to the bomb without, like, realizing that that's the bomb.
Well, though, I'd fucking die and you know
You'd get a Fate for it.
Get a Fate, but I'd be dead. It doesn't matter if you're dead.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That would be an example of it. Like, that's... yeah. So I think that's just one Fate for Astor then.
Yeah. I really need to get Persona from
any-
Slingnish.
Yeah, let's check if you've done... Have you done any... Yeah, you
No,
haven't really completed
I
any
was just
beliefs.
offhandedly mentioning it.
Yeah, you haven't really completed any beliefs, and you haven't...
There's nothing you can give me Persona here
Yeah,
for.
no.
Don't even try.
Yeah, no. Alright. Well, you might get something at the end, we'll see. Let's see. So, Edvard?
I think we got a little bit of the way into belief number 3.
Yes, you have found some
I
explosives.
have successfully made a bomb.
Yes.
So,
let's see. Let's get the exact wording. So, there's a way to release the time people first. I'll need to find some more explosives. Yeah. So I think you've got explosives now successfully.
Yeah.
So let's.
is
mark
that belief complete or?
Yeah, you can take a persona for it.
Mhm.
And, well, okay, yeah, I guess, like, do you feel like, let's ask this. Do you feel like the intent of the belief was, I want to get explosives? In which case, yeah, take a persona and change it. Or is the intent of the belief, I need to get explosives to save Polna Golem? In which case,
No, the
only
intent
take
of the belief
Fate.
was I want to get explosives.
Yeah, so
That was
take
pretty much it.
persona and change the belief for next session.
Okay.
Um,
I'm up to 2 persona.
Nice.
That is
and you can,
incredible.
For next session, you could just do something
You
like,
can
I'll kill
mark-
the witch, and then if we kill the witch, you get a persona.
Yes. So you can mark the checkbox for P to remind you that you need to change it. Or you can just delete the whole thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's easier.
Yeah.
I think I'm going against my first instinct in this thing because, like, Violence should always be a last resort. Let's make a bomb!
Yes. So you can get. I think I've mentioned this before, or it might have been in a previous campaign that I mentioned it. It is. I feel like it's possible to get Moldbreaker on instincts. If you're like not, if you've got an instinct and you choose to not engage it in a dramatic moment when it would have more likely made sense to engage with it, then you can get Moldbreaker for it, which is a persona.
I mean, I think...
But I think in this case
like,
it's not quite Moldbreaker yet.
It's not quite there yet, but I think eventually Edvard's going to go from violence should always be a last resort to always carry explosives on me at all times,
God.
just in case.
You're gonna blow yourself up at one point. That's gonna be fucking horrible and hilarious.
Yeah,
Look.
so we can either kind of
Will told me to get into trouble.
Yeah.
I
So I'm
can't
getting
wait
into
to
trouble.
make a sandwich with ground Edvard in it.
Ooh.
So we can. I'd say keep it for now, and like if you feel like if out of game you feel like this is something that Edvard might go against eventually, then
He will.
just
I
remember
already feel that.
remember that you can mold break it at a dramatic point and get rewarded for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he's gonna lose that at some point in the future
Yeah.
because explosives are fun.
Oh shit, Will. I have actually a kind of important question.
Uh-huh.
What do you count as when you're using that dreamscape spell that the witch is using? Do you count as something that could be counted as etheric, or...
What do you mean?
So essentially you're like sidestepping into a universe, right? Partially? Or you're like making a bend or whatever.
It depends on the nature of it, right? You don't your characters don't really know what this witch has done previously or is capable of in the future.
Yeah. But we know she's like kind of dematerializing, right? Sometimes.
It seems that way, but you haven't
Yeah,
had
like-
the chance to actually look at her with that effect on with second sight, so you don't really know.
Oh yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on, but I can like make generalization guesses, kind of. And this is a bit metagamey, but meh.
Can we finish
I just
Archer
wanted to ask
first?
Yeah.
Because I need to go in 10 minutes, so. So yeah, Edvard. Sorry.
I think, yeah. Lastly, impulsive. I feel, I don't know, like with this one because it's a little bit weird, but I feel like Edvard's impulsiveness to immediately jump to let's blow her up, it's the easiest way to do things, is sort of there.
Yeah, I think the nature of your belief. Yeah, no, I think. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, take fate.
Okay. Nice. I'm up to 17th aid. I think that pretty much covers everything.
Yeah, I think so too. Cool. Odelle.
Hello?
Hello.
Well, I did belief number 3.
What was that?
Wait, no, I haven't.
No, you haven't.
I have not. But I have worked toward it.
Have you?
Well, I mean, I did ask, like, as to their appearance and whatnot. You just never actually gave me an answer and let me roll for it.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, like, you can't...
And then you did say
Yeah.
it's like they're not moving like they're alive anymore. They're not even moving
Yeah.
like they're...
So like, you... I think specifically what I was trying to say was, like, if you felt like it was an illusion before,
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like that now. But you also can't tell it's like a recursive curse. You also can't tell whether it's part of the illusion that's meaning that you can't tell whether it's an illusion or not, right? So,
Well, at this point, Odelle is convinced that they're dead, but killing the witch will set them free.
right. Okay, yeah, if that's the way you're imagining it, then yeah, sure, take a fate.
Hey, yeah. That's about it.
You could if it interests you, you could write that belief to focus more on like that dilemma, like are they alive, are they dead? I need to find out. For next session, maybe.
Right.
Or you could focus on killing the witch first. Up to you.
I mean, I feel like killing the witch would just, in the end, really solve that problem, solve that dilemma, take it out of my hands.
Yeah, I mean, it might. I suppose it's a question of like, do you want to, like, do you feel like, do you think Odelle would get distracted by that dilemma instead of focusing on just killing the witch?
I have an idea. I'm going to rewrite it. I think you'll like it.
Okay. Especially off the back of the failed conspicuous test, consider it means that the townsfolk are around now instead of away, so they will be a concern for next session.
I don't think I have gotten in trouble or put the story into an interesting direction.
No. But what I will say, what I will say is, with your belief. Sorry, not belief. With your instinct, I'll let you react first at the beginning of next session.
Okay.
Like you get a premonition, like just as Edvard's like making all this noise, like Odelle is sitting on top of the wall next to the church or whatever it is, and gets this premonition that like everything's about to go wrong. Like maybe that's the last cut. Like we see Odelle's face, and she's just like, "Oh no."
It's like, something's wrong.
It's just like,
the witch
oh
arrives.
shit.
Traits?
No.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
It was a very preparatory episode.
Yeah.
Those seem to be the best ones for me.
The plan's in full motion now, so... wait, so did you get anything this session? One fate, right?
One fate.
Yeah, okay.
I have 15 fate
Yeah.
and 3 persona.
Everyone is in double digits fate now, I think.
Yeah. We just need to roll more 6s and then we could just spend fate left and right.
Yeah. Romienji.
Hello. Well, I'm working towards belief 3, which is killing the witch, because I volunteered to be the bait, to decapitate her. Either way.
Yeah, so I think fate for belief 3, because you're dealing with the witch, and also I guess fate for belief 1 because you're. Well, no, you haven't actually. You're in Polnagolem. You haven't searched.
But I haven't
Polnagolem.
searched it. Yeah, that's why I'm like, meh. No, I don't think so. Okay.
I think at some point, probably after the witch is dealt with, probably your belief 2 and belief 1 will merge. Which will like free up a belief slot for you.
Okay. And then I think reliable, because I came up with a good plan.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, so that's 2 fate.
2
I
fate,
think.
and you didn't intimidate anyone. You did keep an eye on Edvard, but his bomb didn't blow up. That would have got you fate if it had.
That would have got me fate, yeah.
And you have your dagger on you. Yeah, okay, cool. So 2 fate. Alright, what's the last thing? We did humor, and I don't think there were any other moments of humor this session. Not as funny as the one that Xerion did, at least.
Here comes the other headache kid.
What's the other things? Embodiment.
Oh. I feel like Astor with his migraine was really good.
I agree.
I wanted him to go a bit more ham with it, but if the rest of you agree, then he can take a persona. But I was
Oh,
like,
well,
I was
that would be
like,
overacting. I get migraines. That was a
No,
inspired
no.
performance.
No, hold on. Let me quickly check something. Yeah, this definitely goes.
Goes
You
to
cut out.
Lulu.
you cut out.
Definitely goes blank.
To Astor.
Right.
Why?
Because he has no persona.
That's not a
Like
reason.
none.
That's
not
not
a
a
That
reason.
is not a reason.
But also, I still agree with my previous statement before I checked.
Yeah.
So,
I think.
Hold
that
on.
really-
What is
We've been new, I have no
which one
persona.
which one are we going for now?
We're
The
talking about
embodiment.
embodiment, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where I think that or
2 minutes.
what's
You
it
know,
called?
I
I need to go
want
in
to
a
give
minute.
it to Edvard today.
me?
I was thinking
What
Edvard.
embodiment did I do?
I was
I was
thinking
kind
Edvard
of-
for workhorse.
Yeah. For workhorse? Okay. Well,
Yeah,
like,
'cause he made the
okay,
bomb.
I
He
kind
made
of agree
plan.
with Will that, like, I like the humor that he put into his performance of the migraine, but I didn't really feel like he was in pain or suffering. I mean, definitely didn't seem to affect his performance at any other point. Like, he didn't even do like, "Oh, I'm in pain, I trip on the floor" or something. Like,
That's fair.
there wasn't anything brought into it. I really like Edvard screaming "Ding dong!" The witch is going to like burn. Right?
Ding dong, the witch is gonna burn!
I like that.
Okay.
But if you want to, do it for workhorse, because that's also true.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Edvard should get workhorse this session.
Mhm.
So I think embodiment goes to Astor then. Because I still think the migraine scene was.
Yeah.
So it's 2 against 1. So what's Romienji or Kelu? What's your thought?
Well, I mean, originally, I said, I think Astor should get it for the migraine scene. So,
Yeah. Okay.
but I also think that there was a lot of good role playing with Astor against
Yeah, but
Edvard.
even before that scene, yeah, I think he should have pushed for it more. But if you guys want to, because the whole thing about Arta, like I'm kind of the arbitrator, but I'm not the sole distributor. So if the rest of you guys think Xerion should get a persona, then he can take a persona.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So Xerion take a persona. And are we giving one to Edvard as well?
Yeah, for workhorse.
Yeah.
For workhorse, yeah.
Well,
Or should we wait till the end of the scenario, like to the end of next session?
No, I
for the
don't mind.
I don't think we should, to be honest, because he did do a lot in this one.
He did.
Well, because I'm
he-
thinking that the MVP might get activated next session as well, right?
Oh,
okay.
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Does
don't.
MVP only give you 1 persona?
Yeah.
I guess it does, yeah.
Yeah.
So it would kind of be like 2 persona for 1 thing overall, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, yeah, Edvard, take the workhorse persona, and Xerion take the embodiment persona, and we're gonna have to end the session there, guys, because I need to go.
Okay.
I'm up to the most persona I have had since the start of the game.
Nice.
I can bet
3.
death for my life now.
Hooray!
Cool.
Oh god.
All right. Well, thanks for
It's
playing.
like you just gotta roleplay more.
Thanks for the